But more exciting news is that the month countdown to the 13th of March begins. Now, you may ask yourself, what is happening the 13th of March? Well, this is when the Cape Town Cycle Tour is kicking off. And guess what? Our very own Zoe Brown over here will be tackling this intense journey, and we will be supporting her all the way. I am going to be hyping you up. I'm going to be a cheerleader girl. I'm going to give me a T-shirt that says, I support Zoe.
Thank you. You know what? I need all the support I can get because it is a big journey, 109 kilometers to cycle. And for someone that's pretty much only been on a bike 4 times, I still have a lot of work to put in.
Okay, that's okay, we understand. But we are going to be showing her preparation to the T, from the learning the do's and the don'ts to learning how to effectively recover after cycling, like Zoe said, over 100 kilometers. Girl, I don't know how you're going to do it.
I need to focus on the recovery end because I find after my biggest cycle was last week and we did 47 kilometers and I was depleted. So I need to figure out how to really nourish my body before, during and after a cycle.
But you have a cheer squad, and I know one person who's also so proud of you is this man over here. Look at his face. That is just like, he's just beaming proudness because we are so proud of you, Zoe. So good morning, G. How are you doing?
I'm exploding with pride. That's what I'm doing this morning. I am so proud of you because it's such a cool thing to do, Zoe. We did it as a team, myself and Kat and you, and back in the day, and what a joy, what an amazing experience, and what a cool achievement. But yes, it is quite grueling, so we're going to give you as much support as we possibly can. Some fantastic little life hacks coming your way as well. But we thought, let's set the tone, seeing as we're counting down now for around a month until the official cycle tour kicks off here in the Mother City. We thought we'd find out from you guys if you know someone who's taking part. Maybe you're going to be a part of a cheer squad like we are for Zoe, and trust me, it makes a big difference when people are lining that road, cheering you on and helping you get across the line. Maybe you yourself are taking part. Maybe this is your first one and you're excited. Maybe this is your 20th one and you've broken some kind of record. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any great advice for Zoe, please let us know on the Expresso Morning Show Facebook page as well. We'd love to hear from you throughout the show. Let's keep the conversation going, have a lot of fun. But of course, we do have an official job to get through first, and that's to get you set for the day ahead with all of the details, news and views that you need. So let's kick that off right now. And Jamie is standing by with the local and international news headlines.
Thank you so much, G. And I'll start on the national front. The Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu, is adamant that South Africa has enough money to fulfill President Cyril Ramaphosa's pledge to extend the 350 Rand social relief of distress grant until the end of March 2023. Now, during his State of the Nation address last week, Ramaphosa allayed the fears of millions of South Africans who are heavily dependent on the grant when he said it would be extended for a further year. The grant was introduced soon after the devastating COVID-19 pandemic had hit South African shores. Then South Africa's world-renowned Blue Train has been temporarily suspended due to safety considerations after recent unfortunate incidents. Transnet confirmed the decision to suspend the luxury railway service until further notice. One person was arrested after a fire broke out in a coach while the train was in for repairs last week. The fire occurred at the Transnet engineering facility in Kuduspoort, Pretoria. While the service is suspended, Blue Train staff will be deployed to the depot and offices until further notice. Then looking to news further abroad, captured insurgents from jihadist forces terrorizing northern Mozambique said they have been severely weakened since the arrival 6 months ago of Rwandan and Southern African forces who are fighting the insurgency in the gas-rich region. The International Crisis Group says a disarmament, demobilization, rehabilitation and reintegration program should be considered. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who was on a one-day state visit to Maputo on Friday, has donated 1,000 tons of maize to his Mozambican counterpart, President Filipe Nyusi. And then at least 7 people have lost their lives and some 25 injured in a fire in France after an explosion at a fast food shop. 2 of the victims were children, and the suspected gas explosion occurred last night in a town near the border with Spain. A fire rapidly spread to other buildings, including apartments, and nearly 100 firefighters were deployed to the town. Emergency services personnel earlier today searched the rubble for possible victims. Police are investigating the possibility of arson. And then, of course, they become the talk of the town. The 730 trees in downtown Cape Town, all swathed in colourful cloth and part of the Come Back to Town campaign with a view of creating a positive vibe in the CBD. Now, they also convey a mood-enhancing message from the Cape Town Central City Improvement District, the CCID, that the CBD is back in business after the pandemic. Dubbed the Rainbow Tree Project, the 730 trees throughout the CCID's 1.6 square kilometre geographical area have been wrapped in some 3,000 metres of fabric to create a wonderful variety of colour. They are visible on the foreshore and in the CCID's 3 other precincts, including St. George's Mall, Bree and Vatican Streets. CCID Urban Management Manager Callie Benito says the 730 trees have been wrapped in green, yellow, red, orange and turquoise fabric as the colours represent our diverse nation, hence the name Rainbow Tree Project. The public response has been very positive, and the endeavour to create a joyful mood in the CBD is certainly working. On that note, that is where we leave your 6 o'clock news headlines. We will be back on the top of the hour. G is standing by with a first look at the sports.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Let's start with footballing action and mouth-watering prospect at the round of 16 in the Champions League. Kicks off tonight with 2 incredible clashes to look out for. The record winners, Real Madrid, they are away to PSG, while Man City take on Portuguese side Sporting. So Neymar could make his first PSG appearance since November, having recovered from an ankle injury he sustained in a league match against Saint Etienne. Madrid have been in fine form in the competition, finishing top of their group with 5 wins from 6 games. City, meanwhile, will go into their match against Sporting as firm favourites, undoubtedly, given their unbeaten run in the Premier League and the fact that they topped a tricky group in this competition. Then bringing it back home for cricket, a poor bowling performance from the Warriors allowed the Knights to cruise to an easy 9-wicket win in their CSA T20 encounter yesterday. A brilliant batting performance from Jacques Snyman, who hammered 90 of just 52 deliveries with 10 fours and 3 sixes in the process, backed up by CP Kleinans on debut, who batted through the innings to end unbeaten on 71. That helped them chase down the target of 171 with 8 balls to spare. Then the Warriors thought they were in control after Tristan Stubbs blasted 65 to help set a competitive total. However, the opening stand of 156 between Snyman and Kleinans saw their side to an easy win in the end. The Titans were just as clinical in their 7-wicket win over the Dolphins. The KZN side were restricted to 134 for 4 before 18-year-old Devalt Brevis scored 46 to see the Titans off to victory. Then on to Formula One once again. The FIA failed to make any proposals following its inquiry into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at a high-level meeting on Monday. Now, instead of the Formula One Commissioner of Teams, F1 and the FIA was told that analysis into the controversial events at last year's title-deciding race was still ongoing. Verstappen, of course, beat Hamilton in that final race of the season under controversial circumstances to claim his first ever world title. And when the FIA announced its inquiry into the Abu Dhabi race last December, it said it would present its findings to the Formula One Commission in February. However, all that came out of the meeting was that there may be an announcement on changes to race management later this week, and that there was agreement for F1 to hold 3 sprint events this season. Then returning to the Winter Olympics, sport's highest courts yesterday cleared 15-year-old Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva to continue competing in the Beijing Winter Olympics. However, no Olympic medals will be awarded at the women's singles event on Thursday if Valieva finishes in the top 3, with Games chiefs saying they would only present the prizes once her doping case was resolved. The Court of Arbitration for Sport upheld an earlier decision by the Russian anti-doping agency to lift a ban on Valieva after she became one of the youngest athletes to face a doping charge during an Olympics. So we'll certainly watch that story unfold, but that's where we leave our sporting headlines for this hour. We'll touch on them again at 7 o'clock right now. Let's get a global weather perspective and some of the temperatures we can expect here in SA.
Thank you, Graham. Well, let's start off with some disturbing environmental news. The news is that the number of trees cut down in the Brazilian Amazon in January far exceeded deforestation compared to the same month last year. This according to government satellite data. The area destroyed was 5 times larger than 2021, the highest January total since records began in 2015. Protecting the Amazon is essential if we are able to tackle climate change. Trees are felled for their wood as well as to clear spaces to plant crops to supply global food companies. Deforestation totaled 430 square kilometers in January. At the Climate Change Summit COP26 in Glasgow last year, more than 100 governments pledged to stop and reverse deforestation by 2030. But environmentalists accuse Brazil's president of allowing deforestation to accelerate. Brazil's vast rainforest absorbs huge amounts of greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, acting as what's known as a carbon sink. Protecting the Amazon is essential if we are tackling climate change. And from some climate change news to your sunrise views. Donovan Daniels from Ashton shared this beautiful photo overlooking the vineyards in his area, showing off the stunning sun rays spread across the sky. And then Joey Peterson from Umhlanga is one of our regular contributors who starts her day off with a walk along the promenade. And then she shared yet another fantastic image with us as she begins her day. So thank you for that, Joey. Let's look at your temperatures. If you're in Polokwane, a low of 17, a high of 26. Mbombela, 21, reaching a high of 27. Pretoria, 18, 29. Johannesburg, 17, reaching a high of 27. Partly cloudy in Mahikeng, 18:32. Klerksdorp, 17:31. Kimberley, 19:31. If you're in Bloemfontein, a low of 16, a high of 29. Some partly cloudy conditions in Richards Bay, 19 with a high of 28. Pietermaritzburg, 18, reaching a high of 27. If you're in Durban, 21 is your low, 27 your high. Mthatha, 18, reaching a high of 30. Some partly cloudy conditions in East London, 22 with a high of 28. Cradock, 19, reaching a high of 34. Gqeberha, 21 with a high of 28 for today. Rain can be expected in George, a low of 19, a high of 29. Cape Town, 19, reaching a high of 28. Worcester, 19:33, Sutherland 15:26, and a cloudy day expected in Uppington with a low of 22 and a high of 32 degrees Celsius. Well, that's where I leave your weather for now. Another update coming your way shortly after 7.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Oh, those temperatures are going to be a beautiful Tuesday here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
It's going to be a beautiful Tuesday for the next 3 hours because we get to sit on the couch of power. We absolutely love our new Gomma Gomma. There's something about this chair that's just magical. There's nothing quite like doing an interview from this chair, but that 2-seater is beautiful.
Yeah. And we know that you deserve so much better. You deserve Gomma Gomma because Gomma Gomma is for life. It's just so beautiful. Like, I just want to sit here the entire day.
I don't want to go and wreck a happy home, but I think you deserve more than your current couch is giving you. I'm just saying, okay, you need to divorce your couch and move on. Okay, find someone that is designed remarkably, someone that is going to be designed with a kind of workmanship and a look that is made to last. That, of course, invariably leads to this brand being asked for by name. If you've tried Gomma Gomma, you will know what we're talking about. And I think I'm definitely going to get online and have a look at the broader range.
Understandably so. I want to see the different colors that they have. I really love this green. I think it's perfect. It's just screamed royalty.
Yeah,
and you can
there's something very regal about it. And it works in our studio space. We obviously, we love the green that pops in. This is such a rich, deep emerald. I love it.
But we're not leaving you hanging, Mzansi, okay? Because this Feb, together with Gomma Gomma, Expresso has the dual Onyx 2-seater couch up for grabs. It could be yours. Now, all you have to do is tell us why you need to break up with your old lounge suite, and we could be sending you a brand new one with the hashtag You Deserve Gomma Gomma. It's that easy.
It really is that simple. So to enter, you've got to upload a picture or just simply tell us why the hashtag or why using the hashtag You Deserve Gomma 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 on the Gomma Gomma Facebook, Instagram pages. Easy to find the post. And then you simply stand a chance of winning that brand new dual Onyx 2-seater couch with Gomma Gomma. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You will, of course, be enjoying Expresso Morning Show while lounging on your brand new couch. We're just putting it in there. We want you to feel what we're feeling right now. The competition closes at midnight on the 25th of Feb. And remember, those T's and C's can be found on gomma.co.za. I hope we're making you feeling like a little bit jealous right now. Yeah.
An important question here. Maybe we can ask this to ourselves as well. When have you taken a risk, maybe changed direction, or taken a leap of faith? When has your curiosity been greater than your fear and then propelled you forward in your career or maybe in a new business development? Well, most of our real growth, in fact, takes place on the fringes of discomfort, in that corridor of uncertainty. And when we are courageous enough to step into those new spaces and do things a little bit differently.
These are such great questions, G. Something to think about. Now, our lives are characterized by many crossroad moments, right? Now, moments when we are called to make a decision, yes or no, commit or walk away. Well, this morning we're talking to Nikki Bush, our human potential and parenting expert, about a crossroads moment in her career development and how crossroad moments benefit us all. Interesting stuff.
Oh, this is really interesting because I think a lot of people are going to suddenly look at their own life and think, maybe this is that moment. Maybe this is the time to make that choice. Do I go left? Do I go right? So maybe a good place to start, Nikki, will be with just a definition. So what do you mean when you say a crossroads moment?
Graham, it's really a fork in the road, I guess. And it's when we're facing that that choice to go left or right. It might be, for example, you're asked if you want to marry somebody. I mean, that's a crossroads moment, isn't it? Or maybe you are ready for a shift at work. Maybe there is a new job on the horizon, a job offer that's come your way. It could be anything that requires that you make a choice. And you know, we don't like making choices because it makes us feel uncomfortable and maybe a little unsure of what we should do. You know, what if we make the wrong decision? And I think that's what gets in the way of maybe us stepping into greatness and becoming bigger than we were before.
Stepping into greatness. I love that. I absolutely love that sentiment as well. But maybe you can give us something a bit more practical. Do you have a personal example maybe you could share with us, Mzansi?
I do, actually. In fact, many people don't realize that I've had 3 careers in my life. Different careers, but linked careers. And I started off in public relations. Then I stepped into direct selling, but most people know me as the speaker and author that I have been for the past 15 years. And in those career transitions, that's actually where we are called to make those choices. And I find for me, and I'm not sure about our viewers, but when it comes to shifting jobs, whether it's within the same organization or stepping out of the company that you work for me, there are two key things that I look at. One is my learning curve, and the other one is my earning curve. Now, interestingly, the research tells us that most people don't leave their jobs for the salary. They leave their jobs for very different reasons. And often for me, the shifts have happened when I have become bored, when my learning curve has plateaued. And this is what happened to me when I shifted from public relations into direct selling. Now, direct selling wasn't in my repertoire. It wasn't what I knew how to do. And what happened to me was that I actually was invited to a meeting where they were talking about educational toys and how they impacted on children's learning, and we were talking about maths. And I just got completely blown away by learning through play, as many of our viewers know how passionate I am about that. But this is not where the story ends. I dabbled in that because I wanted to be a better mum. But about a year into being part of the sales team, where I really only bought products for myself and never sold anything to anybody else, my team leader, and it was one of the crack sales teams in the country, said she was emigrating and she wanted me to take over the leadership of the team. Well, that was interesting because this was a very professional team full of educational psychologists, remedial teachers, physiotherapists who specialized in children's issues, you name it. They all knew their stuff in terms of child development. And what did I know? But she said, "You're the leader." And I was at that plateau of learning. And I was bored with my public relations consultancy that I was running at the time. And I decided to back myself and take a leap of faith. And I took on this role, which meant going for training, as one has to do in a new job. And there is a very interesting story here. That wasn't the first crossroads, whether to take the job or not. The second crossroads came when I went into the training session for leading this team. And I think that is where the key lessons really are.
So, Nix, that being said, why are these crossroads moments so important for us in order to progress and grow in our lives? Why do we need to feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes?
You know, all growth happens on the fringes of discomfort. Think of a pond. You're sitting in the middle of the pond. You don't know what's on the edge of the pond. And sometimes we have to push ourselves towards the edge of the pond to a place that is unfamiliar. So I land up going to this area director training, a full day of leadership training with the CEO. And I was absolutely blown away by the potential of what I could do with this team, not just to take them to the top sales-wise, but how I could change the narrative in the country around learning through play. And I was overwhelmed by the end of the day with such excitement, so many ideas. And of course, as with any new job, I had to learn lots of new processes and procedures. I got into my car at the end. I was in this underground parking, and I sat there dumbfounded. And then I started to cry because I was so overwhelmed. And I knew in that instance that I had two options. This is one of those crossroads moments. I had to do some deep soul searching. And for 15 minutes, I sat there going, I have two options here. If I drive out of this garage right now, I will never do this job. I will go back to my very comfortable PR consultancy where I'm earning very nicely. Otherwise, the other option is I can go upstairs, knock on the CEO's door, and ask for help. Because all I needed was for somebody to help me isolate my first 3 moves in a new direction. After 15 minutes, I decided my curiosity got the better of my fear. And I decided to be vulnerable enough to go upstairs. And I knocked on her door. She was available. I needed 10 minutes of her time. I promptly burst into tears again, which is so not like me. And she helped me. You know, sometimes we have to ask for help and share our enthusiasm.
And often that creates a mentor dynamic, which I think so many of us, we miss those golden opportunities because we don't ask for help and create that mentorship dynamic. Nikki, please stick around. There is so much more we want to delve into with regards to this very interesting topic. We are talking about those gateway moments in your life that force you to make a big choice. It could be what's standing in the way of you achieving your potential, stepping into greatness.
Yeah, I love that.
As Nikki said, we're going to ask Nikki to stick around, you as well.
Yeah. What? Oh, of course, it's time to talk fashion on this Tuesday. Thank you so much, boys, for that conversation. Now, here's my question for you. What do you get when you combine a tapered straight leg, a relaxed fit, and authentic denim with minimal stretch? Well, you get my favorite pair of jeans of all time. It is the mom jean, definitely one of our new favorite styles, and is very on trend at the moment. Now, the mom jean was once considered slouchy and unflattering, but it has become a fashion trend on its very own. Today, Mzansi, I'm going to be needing you and I'm going to be needing your help. So I have two mom jeans to choose from. So option number one, okay, is this very light blue distressed ultra high-rise mom jeans with just enough stretch for ease and comfort, which we love. Now this is the denim of the moment. It's easy to dress up or down, and this is option number one, okay? Now cue option number two. Very cute as well. Can I fit it? I'll just keep it in my hand. So option number two is a bit of a darker blue ultra high-rise mom jean that features some rip and repair abrasions. It's an easygoing style, perfect for any casual event. But guess what? It is not up to me. It is up to you at home. So what I want you to do right now is head on over to the Expresso social media pages and vote for your favorite mom jeans by commenting on the poll post. Remember to include that hashtag styled by Woolies. And of course, I'll be revealing my outfit for today's show very shortly. So is it option number one or option number two? It is up to you, Mzansi.
In this world where you want the best for you and your family, wouldn't you rather have a bank that helps you make better money choices? A bank that rewards you for saving. A bank that gives you quick and easy access to credit. A bank that gives you personalized offers. A bank that helps you spend, save, and borrow better. So, do you want a bank that takes your money? Or a bank that takes your money choices seriously? Join Nedbank today.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, Mzansi. We are asking essential questions right now, none of which are going to do anything other than inspire you. Now, are you at the crossroads with your life? Or maybe you're not sure whether to commit or eject yourself from the situation or opportunity. And what happened to taking a leap of faith, right? Well, we are back. We're discussing all of this morning with our human potential and parenting expert, Nikki Bush, in the building.
Nikki, I think both Ryle and I have been very fiercely examining our own lives now, looking for those crossroads moments, because I think we all want that. Maybe it's been compounded by the last few years of us having had so much time to think about the meaning of our lives and what we want to achieve. I would imagine a lot of people have taken a short left in their careers now and are looking at different angles.
Yeah.
But lay it out for us. What are the kinds of crossroads moments that we will face in our lives?
Graham, there are a number that people are facing right now that I hear about often. One is people selling up their homes in the big smoke in the city and opting for a more quieter life closer to nature, the sea, in smaller towns. Some people even actually selling up everything and deciding to become international nomads, spending 6 months in different countries, and switching countries because we realize we can actually work from anywhere if you do the kind of work that, of course, you can do off a screen. Then it could be moving house, maybe shifting from being in a small apartment or a townhouse into a house. That is a big decision. Once again, it pushes you into a realm that you don't know. Paying off a bond. Can you afford it? What does your family need? What do you have to do to meet those obligations? You know, all of these decisions have a knock-on effect that can change everything in your life and can have both positive and negative impacts depending on how you view things.
I absolutely love that. Now, for me, I see this scenario coming through all the time. We meet these crossroad moments, and it's almost that matter of like, even asking these hypothetical questions, it makes you think, it makes you wonder, and it kind of gets you to the point where you're like, yeah, I want that. But when it comes down to actioning it, when it comes down to actually making the decision, why do we still find it so difficult?
That's where the rubber hits the road, so they say, you know. And I think a lot of the issues that we have around decision making are really centered on what is this going to look like to other people. I think that is a big thing, that we're so worried about what things will look like externally to the world that we forget what's important to us. It needs to feel right for us. It doesn't matter what it looks like to everybody else. So let's get brave, you know. I think that branching off in a new direction can be so refreshing, so exciting. Yes, it will come with its terrifying moments because you've never been here before. But like in my situation where I shifted entire careers from public relations consulting into direct selling, my curiosity actually got the better of my fear. And of course, it was a calculated risk. We have to ask ourselves a lot of questions. That's that soul searching that I was talking about, Graham.
So having gone through this process now and pivoted, if you will, to use the word of the year from last year, what are some of the key take-homes, the lessons that you've learnt that you can share with people facing these crossroads right now?
So I think you have to ask yourself, where are you in your learning curve? Where are you in your earning curve? And what needs to happen for you to lead a full and rich and satisfying life? And sometimes we need to say no, or sometimes we do say no to new opportunities because we're scared of what might happen. But in the process, we need to also say yes to new opportunities to help us to become bigger than we were before. And sometimes we need to expect the best, not the worst. And it really is important that, you know, when we choose new opportunities for ourselves, new possibilities might be revealed because we don't know what's down that track 100%. And that's the other thing that keeps us stuck, is we like to feel in control. When we step into the unknown, we do definitely feel out of control for a while. And you have to remind yourself that that's okay. And I think that it is so important to buy into the law of unintended consequences. When you choose a new path, newness will follow, and it might not be what you expect. And I know for sure that I would not be doing this work as a speaker and author today had I not switched careers way back then from public relations into direct selling, which launched me into parenting. It was all kind of like magical in a way. So much synergy and synchronicity. So if you're looking for some excitement and newness in your life, you may need to take a new path.
Oh, Nikki, you've been an absolute pleasure to chat to. And also, I think I'm feeling grateful for you reaching your crossroad moment in your life. And speaking of it, you've just become an absolute incredible resource when it comes to future-proofing yourself. And even when we look at some of the resources you have, which adds to the fact that you also have future-proofing your child too. So from you, our human potential and parenting expert, Nikki Bush, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. I cannot wait for us and the rest of Mzansi to liberate ourselves and step into our greatness. I love that.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show here on S3. Now, of course, we know that making important decisions can be very tough, but this next recipe is the easiest decision you have to make.
So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
The classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover.
We are about to make a salad. Now, a salad is just a salad until you add a classic dressing. Takes it to the whole other level. Now, we are raising the bar with our roast chickpea and cauliflower recipe with a classic green goddess dressing, perfect to store in the fridge, and also drizzle that green goodness over almost everything. It is perfect. Zoe, I don't know how excited you are, but this looks so beautiful.
It does look, I mean, we've got the finished product there and it looks really, really delicious. And Jamie, here in front of me, I have our cauliflower as well as our chickpeas. So I'm going to simply just start off with mixing the two together. We're going to use our spices here. We've got some great flavoring. And then...
Spice, some Cajun flavors coming through with that one.
There we go.
Yummy.
Give it a little bit of a mix and then, of course, drizzle also some olive oil over it. And then this you simply pop in the oven on a baking tray, and that will go in until it's nice and like al dente.
Yes, you want it nice and chunky and just have that crunch of the chickpea in that. And obviously I'm starting with the dressing as well. So we're going to be using 2 dollops of our Clover Classic plain dairy snack for this one. Let me just get it nice and open. There we go.
Got the pretty Valentine's Day nails.
Yes, I still have it on. So we're going to pop that in there, sharing the love. And then we are going to go in with all of our ingredients. So let's go with some
little bit of lemon juice.
Avo
is probably one of the hero ingredients to this green goddess.
Yes, definitely. So
recipe.
I'm going to throw in all of the Avo.
The whole Avo.
I'm an Avo girl. Let's see, we can throw some garlic in, some parsley. I don't think I'll use as much, but yeah, you can obviously
play around with what you think is necessary.
Definitely. And then we're going to season with some salt and some pepper. That's going to go in. And then some spring onion.
Some spring onion is always a winner with a salad like this.
Definitely. And again, to your preference, I'm going to throw in, I love a spring onion. There's just something fresh about it. And it's going to complement that cauliflower and that chickpea. And then some water just to
get really the liquids going.
Definitely.
And this is something, obviously, the less liquid you add, the thicker your sauce will be. We want a little bit of a runny sauce. We have got our our cauliflower, as well as our chickpeas that has come out of the oven.
Are you ready to blitz it?
We are ready. Yeah, go for it. There we go. So I'm going to start serving. We've got a bit of lettuce.
And look how quick and easy that was.
And chickpeas.
Now you're just going to assemble it and put that
This is
on.
my kind of food.
Quick and easy.
It's easy, it's quick, and it's
Nutritious.
so delicious.
Definitely. Ticks off all those boxes. Look. You could see that.
I love my veggies.
Just look at this.
Veggies doesn't have to be bland.
It does not have to be. And then, of course, that beautiful green goddess of a dressing.
And you just like dollop it like that. Oh, there we go. Well, we do have this recipe available for you if you're looking to get your hands on this roasted chickpea and cauliflower salad. It is available on our website, expressoshow.com.
I honestly want...
Oh, be generous, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm
be
trying
generous.
to do this
You're
like...
being so like...
Doing a pretty... I'm trying to make it look pretty, guys. I'm trying to make it aesthetically pleasing. And then just one for the side over here. Yeah, there we go. That is perfection in a bowl. And look how quick and easy that was.
Super duper easy.
You can, and I was just going to say, you can go with aubergine as well if you wanted to, some cherry tomatoes. I mean, whatever flavors you want to play around with, you can definitely do that as well.
Great veggie substitutes. There we go. And if you've missed any of the steps that we've just created for you, we do have a quick little recap for you.
Made with love by Clover.
Scrumptious and delicious. Go and find that recipe at expressoshow.com. Now, we aren't quite over being love-struck just yet. In fact, love is such a beautiful thing, especially for a particular lucky couple, Tracy and Ricardo Verndal, who recently had the chance to celebrate their love in a massive way. They experienced the ultimate surprise of winning a Clover Bliss Valentine's Day experience to the value of, get this, 75,000 rand. Incredible. And Zoe was there and in on the big surprise. So let's take a little bit of a look to see exactly how it all went down.
past year, Clover Bliss have been indulging in creating the best ever experiences and special occasions. And today, since it's Valentine's Day, we want to surprise 2 lucky winners with the best ever Valentine's Day experience. Now, Tracy and Ricardo, they have no idea what we've got planned for them. They are making their way down the promenade here in Sea Point, and they're just expecting to win a hamper. We've also arranged a saxophonist to play their favorite song, which is Mariah Carey's Hero. Okay, here they come.
Is it open? Where your heart is the sun and it shines. Says it open? Yeah, your heart is the sun and it shines. Is it open? Where your heart is the sun and it shines. Says it open? Yeah, your bones.
Do you recognize this song?
Yes,
I was just telling you now. Now, the 2 of you are probably wondering why you are here and where is that hamper you were promised?
Yes.
Well, Tracy, I'm going to hand this to you.
Thank you.
And Ricardo, please can you read this out loud?
It says to Ricardo and Tracy. Be mine. It says, congratulations. You 2 are the best ever grand prize winners.
What? You know what that means? You 2 are the winners of the best ever experience for this Valentine's Day, courtesy of Clover Bliss, which means it's going to be an experience all over Cape Town to the value of almost 75,000 rand. Are the 2 of you ready for that?
Oh my gosh! I don't think so, but yes we are.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Sure.
Valentine's Day comes with a lot of added pressure for you, because not only is it Valentine's Day, but also your wedding anniversary, celebrating 24 years. What are you thinking of perhaps getting Tracy as a little bit of a Valentine's Day gift as well as an anniversary present?
Yeah, so she's really had an eye on this beautiful necklace. And normally I look for hints every year, and this has been the hint this year, so I really want to get for this necklace.
Most romantic towns in Cape Town has to be the quaint little town of Franschhoek. Now, we have made a very special reservation for the 2 lovebirds. Hi!
Hi!
Tracy, Ricardo, this is your next stop. We have made a special reservation for you at Peace. Well, the restaurant's that way. I will see you 2 lovebirds in a little bit.
Thank you.
Tracy, how was your 12-course experience at A Peace?
That was amazing.
It was incredible.
Really enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Tantalized every sense.
Yeah, lovely.
We thought what better way to experience Cape Town than to go on one of these amazing yachts and just see the city from a different angle.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Ready. Well, off you go.
Thank you.
Story has a beginning. Tracy, do you mind telling me how you and Ricardo met?
It actually happened to be our Valentine show. The DJ said, you can bring your Valentine up on stage for a dance, and I just felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was Ricardo asking me for a dance.
So Ricardo, Tracy, it's been a day filled of adventure and romance as promised.
It's been absolutely fun. It's been spontaneous.
Yeah.
It's been, the experience has been beautiful.
It was really incredible. I don't have words.
The two of you are so deserving of this, so congratulations once again, and go and enjoy your final moments of the best ever Valentine's Day experience.
I don't know how to be a poet or a sage. All I can do is just tell you in this simple way. Yeah, I'm so in love with you.
So, I've gotten you a dancing diamond.
Oh my gosh.
And as you know, the very first time we got together, we danced. And that signifies the same as the dancing diamond.
Oh my God.
And just like diamonds are forever, our love is forever, my darling. And I love you so much.
So in love with you. And I know you love me too.
Oh my goodness.
I love love.
Hey, how sweet was that? They seemed like an absolutely gorgeous, a very deserving couple, but how romantic was that?
So deserving. I mean, I was third wheeling there in the back. It was so special. Tracy and Ricardo, the two of you have such a beautiful bond, and happy anniversary for yesterday. They got married on the 14th of Feb. A very, very special day for the two of them, and so deserving, like you said, of winning that Clover Bliss best ever experience.
Girl got a diamond out of it. She's okay.
Beautiful.
She's doing all right. I bet you were hanging around in the background in that particular store, like,
What can I get? While you pay.
Man. Well, maybe like us, not like Zoe, who was the third wheel, but maybe like me, you might be feeling some extreme FOMO. But your chance could be next. What we need you to do is stay tuned, obviously, to your Feel Good Breakfast Show and follow the Clover Bliss social pages, as all the details will be revealed on how you could be the next winner of an ultimate, and I stress, after what we've just seen, ultimate Clover Bliss experience. We'll see you in a bit.
With the creamy decadence of double cream bliss from Clover, yogurt has never been so irresistible.
Made with love by Clover. Only you can make my day.
Welcome back to it. Yes, it is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, on this beautiful Tuesday morning. We're choosing love, we're choosing to be inspired and open up to this one. Born and raised in Norton out in Zimbabwe, musician and vocalist Angus Mtizwa, he, discovered his artistic talent at an early age, and it was right for that to happen, and he quickly, got to learn to master multiple instruments while also composing his own songs. Now, his music, it's mind-blowing. It speaks of the rich cultural heritage of his proud Shona background. And let's take a quick sneak peek at what he really is all about. Watch this. Come on, how rich is that? Let us all please give Angus a very warm Expresso welcome. Come on now. Yes, Angus. Dave, man.
Boys are good.
Boy.
Boys are good.
Oh, I love it. Well, this is really fantastic because, you really did manage to tap into your talent at a very young age. What inspired and influenced this direction and this move into music, and specifically the type of music that you make?
Well, as I was growing up, my dad used to listen to an artist from Zimbabwe. His name is Thomas Mapfumo. So I grew in listening to that kind of music. We call it katekwe in Zimbabwe. It's mbida music. But when I was growing up, I realized I need to come up with something close to that, as well as something that is me, not copying everything. So that's how I ended up doing jazz.
The thing about, I suppose, your upbringing as well, and the way that your music has done, I suppose, rather come out so rich in its cultural expression, is that you got to rub shoulders with some really impressive artists growing up who you sort of drew inspiration from. Tell us about that.
Well, in Norton, there is a place that is called Pakarepai. I used to go there sometime here and there, and I got a chance to meet the great Oliver Mtukudzi.
Tuku.
Yes.
Okay.
I got a chance, and then I met another artist in Zimbabwe as well, whose name is Mbeu, who happens to be one of the people who taught me how to play acoustic.
What was that experience like? Come on, you said like, oh yeah, I know, I got to, meet and, rub shoulders with Oliver Mtukudzi. Another day in your life, but that must have been quite a defining experience for you, right?
It was.
Ne? And that's what it is. Let's talk about your sound. Where do you draw inspiration from? Stories are very important, yes. People are very important, but what really keeps you so driven and pumping out the music?
Well, it depends. There is some times where I come up with a topic and I feel like this is something that people need to hear. And then I just turn that into music, because I believe, as I am as an artist, the best way I can tell my story to the people is when I put it into music.
Yeah.
And my inspiration at the moment, I listen to a lot of Richard Bonner.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Oliver Mtukudzi. I listen to a lot of Yuma Segela.
Yeah.
And when I'm creating my music, I have some of the elements that I got from them, and something that is just in me as well.
And one thing that's also in you that I've been so lucky lots of times to catch is watching you live on a stage. You really do come alive, but you also have this beautiful ability to get everyone zoned into your music at the Mojo Market in Sea Point. Yeah. Was that where you started in South Africa? Was that the first sort of stage platform for you here?
Well, yes, in Cape Town, that was the first, I would say, my first big platform. So I've been going there for a couple of months, and I'm still going back there as well on the 26th of February, this month, actually.
26th of February?
Yes.
How's the year been? It sounds like you haven't had, a chance to sort of ease into 2022. You're gliding through, but you're flying as well.
I want to move very fast.
Ne? It's really, really fantastic. Well, listen, we're very excited to have you here, and I know that you've got, lots of really awesome tunes to share with Mzansi this morning. Thank you very much for joining us, Angus. You are such an inspiring young talent, and of course, your ability to tell stories. I can't wait for everyone to hear that. It's all happening here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Angus is going absolutely nowhere. You are going to love this guy, as I've had the opportunity to enjoy all of his music, and he's ready. He's come with a full band. He's ready.
Thank you so much.
Well, the time now is 2 minutes before 7 o'clock. Time to have another look at those news headlines. Starting on the local front, the University of KwaZulu-Natal has suspended its academic program for the rest of the week after violence and intimidation against staff members occurred on a number of its campuses. University spokesperson Norman Zondo said student leaders had entered lecture halls and demanded that academic activities be halted. Stone throwing also occurred at the entrances of certain campuses. Zondo said the university management would meet with the SRC today about the grievances. Then the Minister of Social Development, Lindiwe Zulu, is adamant that South Africa has enough money to fulfill President Cyril Ramaphosa's pledge to extend the 350 Rand social relief of distress grant until the end of March 2023. During his State of the Nation address last week, Ramaphosa allayed the fears of millions of South Africans who are heavily dependent on the grant when he said it would be extended for a further year. The grant was introduced soon after the devastating COVID-19 pandemic had hit South African shores. Then on the international front, the US and UK leaders have said not all hope is lost for a diplomatic solution to the Ukraine crisis, but warned that the situation remains fragile. In a 40-minute call, Joe Biden and Boris Johnson agreed a deal was still possible despite a chorus of warnings of imminent Russian military action. Russia has constantly denied plans to invade Ukraine despite massing more than 100,000 troops on its border. Russia's foreign minister said yesterday diplomacy was far from exhausted. Meanwhile, the US has said aerial bombardments could begin at any time. Then staying on the international front, captured insurgents from jihadist forces terrorizing northern Mozambique say they have been severely weakened since the arrival 6 months ago of Rwandan and Southern African forces who are fighting the insurgency in the gas-rich region. The International Crisis Group says a disarmament, demobilization, rehabilitation and reintegration program should be considered. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who was on a one-day state visit to Maputo on Friday, has donated 1,000 tons of maize to his Mozambican counterpart, President Filipe Nyusi. Then maybe you've seen the horror comedy movie Snakes on a Plane starring Samuel L. Jackson and thought to yourself, well, surely that could never happen in real life. Well, life imitated art recently on a domestic flight in Malaysia when passengers, trembling with fear, spotted a snake on the loose. Air Asia confirmed that a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Tawau was diverted to Kuching when the pilot was alerted of the presence of a loose snake in the passenger compartment. Air Asia's chief safety officer Leong Ting Ling Com's comment was, and I quote, "This is a very rare incident which can occur on any aircraft from time to time." But nobody believed him. A video posted to TikTok shows the snake slithering through a light fixture in the overhead compartment of the plane and several passengers sitting ashen-faced and scared stiff. The airline said staff searched the plane after landing in Kuching, but it was never located. No injuries were reported, but there were more than a few scared passengers on board, and we can certainly understand why. On that note, that is where I leave your 7 o'clock news headlines. G is standing by with another look at the sports.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Let's start with football. The round of 16 in the Champions League kicks off officially tonight with two mouth-watering clashes to look forward to. We've got record winners Real Madrid. They're away to PSG, while Man City, they take on Portuguese outfit Sporting. Neymar could make his first PSG appearance since November, having recovered from that ankle injury he sustained in a league match against Saint-Etienne. Madrid have been in fine form in the competition, boding well, finishing top of their group with 5 wins from 6 games. And City, meanwhile, they'll go into their match against Sporting definitely the firm favourites, given their unbeaten run of form in the Premier League and the fact that they topped a tricky group in this particular competition. And bringing it back home for cricket, a poor bowling performance from the Warriors allowed the Knights to cruise to an easy 9-wicket win in their CSA T20 encounter. A brilliant batting performance from Jacques Snyman, who hammered 90 of just 52 deliveries with 10 fours and 3 sixes in the process, backed up by CP rugby Kleinans on debut batted through the innings to end unbeaten on 71, helped them chase down the target of 171 with 8 balls to spare. So the Warriors thought they were in control after Tristan Stubbs blasted 65 to help set a competitive total. However, the opening stand of 156 between Snyman and Kleinans saw their side to that easy win in the end. And the Titans were just as clinical in their 7-wicket win over the Dolphins. KZN's side were restricted to 134 for 4 before 18-year-old Devald Previs scored 46 to see the Titans over the line. Then on to Formula One. Formula One's governing body failed to make any proposals following its inquiry into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at a high-level meeting yesterday. So instead, the Formula One Commission of Teams, F1 and the FIA, was told that analysis into the controversial events at last year's title deciding race was still ongoing. Verstappen, of course, beat Hamilton in that final race of the season under controversial circumstances to claim his first world title. And when the FIA announced its inquiry into the Abu Dhabi race last December, it said it would present its findings to the Formula One Commission in February. However, all that came out of the meeting was that there may be an announcement on changes to race management later this week, and that there was an agreement for Formula One to hold 3 sprint events this season. Now, finally, back to the Winter Olympics we go. And sport's highest courts yesterday cleared 15-year-old Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva to continue competing in the Beijing Winter Olympics. So, however, no Olympic medals will be awarded at the women's singles event on Thursday if Valieva finishes in the top 3, with Games chiefs saying they would only present the prizes once her doping case was resolved. The Court of Arbitration for Sport upheld an earlier decision by the Russian anti-doping agency to lift a ban on Valieva after she became one of the youngest athletes to face a doping charge during any Olympics. Well, that's where we leave our sporting headlines for now. We'll go through those headlines again in an hour or so. Right now, though, let's bring you the latest on the weather fronts and some of the temperatures here in SA.
Thank you, Graham. And starting off with some interesting space news this morning is that astronomers now say that the rocket section set to crash onto the moon in March did not come from Elon Musk's space exploration company as initially thought. Instead, they now believe it's probably a Chinese rocket stage launched for a lunar mission in 2014. Scientists say the rocket part will explode on contact, but the impact of the collision with the moon will be minor. Data analyst Bill Gray first identified the object as a Falcon 9 booster from a 2015 launch by billionaire Elon Musk's space exploration program, SpaceX. But now, Gray say he made an error, and instead he believes it's a rocket launched in October 2014 as part of China's Chang'e 5 T1 mission that sent a small spacecraft to the moon. Machinery left in space that doesn't return to the Earth's atmosphere after completing missions is known as space junk. Well, from your space news to your sunrise views, Nick Lombard, who is usually based in the Northern Cape, has shared a different view with us this morning while he is visiting the coast. We love this hazy shot looking towards the ocean as the sun comes up. Absolutely beautiful. And then staying on the coast, Suzette Kuhn from Jeffreys Bay captured this beautiful silhouetted image overlooking the ocean, showing off burnt hues in the sky. Well, let's get into your temperatures. If you're in Polokwane, a low of 17 and a high of 26 for today. Mbombela 21 reaching a high of 27. Pretoria 18 reaching a high of 29. Johannesburg 17 reaching a high of 27. If you're in Mahikeng, 18 is your low, 32 your high. Klerksdorp 17 reaching a high of 31. Partly cloudy conditions in Kimberley, 19 your low, 31 your high. Bloemfontein, 16 reaching a high of 29. Partly cloudy conditions in Richards Bay, 19 with a high of 28. Pietermaritzburg, rainy conditions, a low of 18, a high of 27. Durban, 21, 27. Mthatha, 18 reaching a high of 30. East London, 22 is your low, 28 your high. Thunder showers can be expected in Cradock today, 19 reaching a high of 34. Gqeberha, 21 reaching a high of 28. Rainy conditions in George, 19 with a high of 29. Cape Town, 19, 28. Rain can be expected in Worcester today, a low of 19, a high of 33. Sutherland, 15, 26. And Uppington, a low of 22 and a high of 32 degrees Celsius. Well, if you have a beautiful sunrise photo that you'd love to share with us, please do so on the Expresso Facebook page.
Okay, so from beautiful sunrise pictures, thank you very much for that, Zoe Brown. Time for us to take a look at some fashion inspiration. Not denim, I love it. It's not only what we wear, it's a staple item, that we live in, that we express in, which, makes finding the perfect one also very important. That's why earlier on, Jamie Lee did ask you to help her choose between 2 pairs of mom jeans. Let's take a look at what some of your comments have been on Facebook and which jeans you think Jamie should be rocking. I know that she did like that relaxed fit. Let's see what you guys had to say. Teresa Micah says that she should wear number 2. The darker, the better for me. Will look great on Jamie too. Hashtag styled by Woolies. Hashtag Expresso Show. Messia Abram says number 1, the light blue one, will suit you perfectly, Jamie. And Shireen Abram says, good morning, Jamie Lee and the team. Happy Tuesday. I love option number 1. Would look great to complete your outfit. Have a super, super day, team. Lots of love. So Jamie Lee, stand by. Let's see. Agnesia says 1. Number 1 is the obvious choice. That's what Carly Mayer says. Zodwa Bongo says number 2, Jamie. Mutasi says number 2. Angela Fertain says number 1. It's a tight one. It's a tight one. But walk on,
Can I
Jamie,
come on in? Because you were like,
please.
come in, but don't come in.
I'm like, yeah, let's wait just in case you have to change it. Wow, look at that.
Thank you, Mzansi, for choosing this one. I really love it. I love, just the relaxed fit of a mom jean. It really creates an effortless aesthetic for you. And you don't need to be a mom to wear these jeans.
I could wear them, and I'm not a mom.
Yeah, you would look so hot in them, especially with your whole outfit today.
You know what I mean?
Aesthetically pleasing. So thank you again, Mzansi, for helping me choose this. And of course, you can dress it up or dress it down, depending on the occasion. Obviously, I'm pairing it with a nice little loose fit top today, some heels, and Bob's your uncle.
I do like the detail on these jeans. I mean, there's nothing plain about them. They're playful, they're very expressive, especially the detail around the sort of color breakdown at the bottom. I love it. It's stunning. Thanks, Jamie. Enjoy your look today, mummy.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we know that all Woolworths denims, they are 100% BCI cotton, and they achieve their unique washes and finishes using eco-friendly dyes and the technologies that really do use less water. It's sustainability. I love that. Find your perfect fit at Woolies in-store, online, or on the app. Take the inspiration here. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, baby.
What's beta-glucan? Hello, do you know what beta-glucan is? What is beta-glucan? No one knows what beta-glucan is.
Beta-glucan is a natural fiber in jungle oats that helps lower cholesterol and keep hearts well.
Jungle, do life with heart.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we turn to health matters right now. Pregnancy Awareness Week is observed from the 12th to the 16th of February. The primary purpose of Pregnancy Awareness Week is to reduce the number of deaths or complications from pregnancy. The event does so by strengthening the education on pregnancy and fighting and highlighting important issues that promote a healthy pregnancy and safe motherhood. And this morning we are joined by reproductive medicine specialist and gynecologist Dr. Salima Nosaka. She takes us through some of the important notes that we have to really highlight. This is, I suppose, should be highlighted every day, but we jump at an opportunity to have an upswing in information, of awareness, and just to get to the heart of the matter. So maybe a good place to start would be with antenatal care. Why is this such a vital focus area?
Okay, antenatal care is very important because it's the place where you get to meet the patient, take a history, find out if they had a previous pregnancy, if there were any problems, current medical conditions, for example, diabetes or hypertension, which can become worse in pregnancy. Is it well controlled? Then you can also talk to the patient about their diet, find out if they're lacking vitamins, make sure they take supplements. If the patient does smoke, smoking is a no-no in pregnancy. Also, alcohol should be avoided. And then also, exercise, I think, is also important in pregnancy. So I think you have an opportunity to talk to the patient, identify risk factors, and then from there, advise how regularly she should be followed up and what measures to take. Also, one more thing, find out about the support structure. You know, is there good support at home, the partner, the family, you know, because pregnancy is not just for the mom, it affects the whole family.
And unfortunately in South Africa, so many, especially young South African women, are going through this journey completely alone, which has its own kind of set of spin-off factors as well. Why is it so important to be preemptive? Why do we need to know this information? Why is it so important to have this health assessment done before we enter into the business end of the pregnancy, if you will?
So that you can plan ahead. You know, if there is, for example, if you know that she's prone to get diabetes, you can control the diet, you can advise on what steps to follow so that she doesn't come in with the glucose levels very high and then it affects the growth of the baby. And, you know, so it's your chance to do something preventative.
And I think it's also really good for peace of mind to have that information. That really is power. From my own experience walking alongside my partner, something I've got to ask you, because it's obviously so prevalent at the moment, and I think a lot of mothers are extremely nervous about COVID. What effects, and I know you've had personal experience with this, what effects does COVID have on your unborn baby?
So COVID itself doesn't affect the baby, it affects the mom.
Okay.
But, and luckily with the whole new, with the vaccines available, I think it's changed things a lot. I personally had the COVID infection in the first wave when I was pregnant, 33 weeks.
Wow.
And fortunately, I wasn't really sick. I just had a bit of headaches. But in the first couple of waves, when patients did have it unvaccinated, they did become quite sick. But as a result of that, the babies were born, had to be delivered sooner because of lung complications. So COVID itself doesn't affect the baby. It affects the pregnancy. And then as a result of that, with prematurity, you know, the baby could have problems.
That's when it can become complicated. You spoke about the vaccine. How should pregnant mothers be feeling about the vaccine? Should they go and get vaccinated right now?
I think there's a lot of uncertainty. People are scared, but everywhere in the world, if you look at all the European, American, British, they all say that you should have the vaccine and you should have it as soon as possible. If you're planning to fall pregnant, you should have it. If you are pregnant, you should have it. You know, just because it will protect you. If you then do get it, it's not going to prevent you from getting the infection, but it will prevent you from not getting very ill, which is what, you know, you don't want to end up in ICU, you don't want to end up on a ventilator, you want to be protected.
And obviously, when you're pregnant, you're limited as to what you can take and how you can treat anything in that space. Are you at a higher risk of contracting COVID if you are pregnant? It might seem like a silly question.
They seem to think that you are at a higher risk, but they also say in the literature that about 80% of people that do get it are asymptomatic.
Okay.
So, you know, they don't even know that they have it. So I think you just need, and especially if you have a high body mass index, say you're overweight, or if you're older, an older mother, No, we say old, but we mean over 35.
We mean, with all due respect, yeah. With,
and then
it's all
also,
relative,
if you have any pre-existing medical conditions like diabetes or hypertension, then you are also more at risk.
More at risk with that, and that's the case as per normal. If you've got any questions for the good doctor, please let us know. Hit us up on our Expresso Morning Show Facebook page. We are talking about pregnancy awareness and ultimately promoting optimal health within our pregnant mothers and within those unborn children. An opportunity for us to focus on these health matters. We'll continue with that in just a moment.
But it's time to get into some fitness for this Tuesday, and we all know there is nothing more refreshing than a naturally refreshing Manhattan iced tea, even after a workout. But if your workout has become bland and boring, it is time for you to refresh your routine. Now, Keith McFarlane from Rebound South Africa is spilling the iced tea on Rebound as a form of exercise. Keith,
hello,
welcome back to the show. I believe the last time you were here was 10 years ago.
Can you believe it's 10th anniversary? Yeah, I mean, it's like time flies.
I can't even believe it. And Rebound SA has been around since 2002. For those people that don't know what it is and what form of exercise it really targets on, speak to us about that.
So rebounding is essentially an exercise for everyone. So any age, any level of health and fitness can use it, and obviously appropriately. So if you're very young or very elderly, then obviously you want someone to be there with you, to support you, to make sure it's safe for you. But the great thing about it is you can use it at any level.
Okay.
And the nice thing is, some people call it cellicizing. In other words, every single cell in your body is doing a little push-up. So you're getting a workout the whole way through. And most importantly, it's fun.
It's
Everybody
fun.
loves it, yeah.
Should I be scared? Because I've seen the workouts on like those Facebook groups, and I'm like, whew, this looks exciting. Now that we're here, I'm like, this could be quite daunting for a newbie like myself.
No, absolutely. And the thing to do is always start slowly. So let's climb on.
Okay, let's climb
So
on.
we're going to get on. You find yourself a nice, safe space.
Let me just tuck in my laces.
That's it.
Then
Make
I
sure your
don't
laces
fall.
are safe. Also, make sure that your trousers, or if you are wearing flared trousers, obviously you don't want to get it caught anywhere. And the most important thing is you just find yourself a nice centralized spot. Shoulders nice and relaxed, body relaxed, and then just let your body weight take you up and down. And you can shift from side to side, so you're kind of doing like a little boogie.
Okay.
And the great thing with rebounding is it's rhythmic, so you can get your music pumping and you're having a lot of fun. Now, this is what we call a health bounce. So this is great for your lymphatic system. This is great for getting your immune system a little boosted. It's also great for boosting your energy. So if you're sitting at a desk a lot of the time, which most of us do, you grab a short bounce. It's like recharging yourself. Okay. Now, if we want to do a little more, we can bring our arms in. So as soon as you bring your arms up and down, you're starting to raise your heart rate, because obviously your heart has to pump the blood, and you can go forward and back.
I'm just trying to focus here, not fall on live TV, but I definitely feel the burn
some
already.
music pumping as well, so we can get into a rhythm thing, right? Now, if you want to do some fancy footwork, you can gently go a little side to side, and you always keep it low. The most important thing to remember is it's not a trampoline. So you're not going to try and jump up.
As high as possible.
Just allow your body weight to take you up and down. So you keep a safe, absorbent bounce, but at the same time, hopefully, you're having a great time.
And this little trampoline actually just gives you a bit of a bounce as well. So you're not doing too much work, but I can definitely feel the burn. Your body is
now, bear in
working.
mind, every single cell in your body is doing this. So when you go down, your whole body weight increases. Now let's try a little more fancy footwork. How about a jumping jack?
Okay.
So all of a sudden. And one of the things I've noticed, when anyone climbs on one of these, the first thing that happens is you start smiling.
It is. It's like naturally you just start smiling.
And because it's, you know what, it reminds us of when we were young, and possibly even taking us right back into the womb space, right? Because obviously we were on mom's waterbed in the tummy, right? When you take a child out, first thing that happens when they cry is you shake them up and down, and they start smiling again.
I'm feeling the burn.
Are you feeling the burn? Where are you feeling? In the calves,
right at the back, in the calves, and the booty.
We haven't really done that much, have we?
Already?
So it shows you how effective it is. We can go for a little jog, right? Now, all of a sudden, you've got a soft, absorbent surface. Marathon trainers will tell you, walk, run, but don't get tired. So we can kind of build up a bit of a speed.
Keith, you are putting me through my paces on this Tuesday, yes!
Now, when you get tired, you come back down to a very gentle bounce. So what happens is your heart rate's up, your heart's beating. You don't want to get off too soon. You want to recover now. So we come back to the gentle bounce, the lymph system starts draining out, we start calming down. If I feel fine, then we can go for it again, right? But if we want to take, that's enough for today, we always bring it back down to the gentle one, where you can speak normally, where you can talk normally. Then you know your system is recovered. Essentially, when you climb off, you should wake up tomorrow morning going,
yay!
I feel fantastic,
smiling.
right?
Got it. Where do you offer these classes? Because I would like to do a full session of this.
Oh, right,
I don't think we have time for it in the segment,
right.
but I'd certainly would like to do it. And how long are the classes?
You know what? Most classes are around about the 40-minute to the hour long, but for personal use, most people can actually get great results with 5 or 10 minutes twice a day. So it's as little as that, because the great thing about the rebounder, you're working with what we call a triple gravity, right? So normal exercise is gravity-based, but we're accelerating and decelerating the whole time on the rebounder. So that's what makes it so effective. So some studies suggest that 2 minutes of an invigorating bounce, so we can go for a power walk, right?
Here we go.
You build it up to your powerful speed, and you say, right, I'm going for it, I'm really invigorating. And if you do this for 2 minutes, it has a similar effect to a 20-minute walk. So all of a sudden, for people time-strapped, I can do that, right?
Keith?
And then you bring it down.
And just bring it down nicely.
Bring it down. And you don't even have to move your legs, right? Just let your body weight take you up and down. Now your whole system is getting a very gentle massage. And you're calming down, unwinding, and you're ready to go again. So the classes are around the country. We've trained over 300 trainers in the country. And so obviously you can look around, you can come to our website. We've got a list of classes and that sort of thing, trainers. And get out there and bounce, absolutely, yeah.
Keith, I'm sure myself and the rest of Mzansi is excited to try one of your classes, but I need you to try the new Manhattan iced tea. It is so beautiful. Not only was that fun, but we can also feel those calories burn. My legs are on fire, everybody. Now, if you are concerned about calories when you refresh after a workout, Manhattan, get this, has no added colorants, has natural sweeteners, and is infused with vitamins. It's simply naturally refreshing, so grab yours today. Keith, cheers to you.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I need to open mine first.
That is very refreshing.
So good, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Chad. And we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
A classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover. Oh, you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. As we continue our health chat, we are focusing on a healthy pregnancy. And of course, this rather crazy time of life. We know that the birth of a baby can trigger a jumble of powerful emotions, from obviously excitement and joy to fear and, yes, anxiety. But it can also result in something that some people might not expect, and that's depression. Most new moms are going to experience to some extent, some postpartum baby blues, if you will, after childbirth. And that commonly includes mood swings, crying spells, anxiety, maybe difficulty sleeping. Well, Dr. Salima Nasaka is still with us and ready to unpack this very interesting and important topic, because I think it can blindside so many new families at such a critical time where you would think I should be just overflowing with joy, yet I feel exactly the opposite. What is postpartum depression and why does it occur? Why is it so common?
So postpartum, as you mentioned before, postpartum blues or pregnancy blues, baby blues. That happens normally, most people go through it. But it lasts about 2 weeks, because especially if you're a new mom, like you say, the baby's not drinking properly, you're not sleeping, you're tired, you're trying to adapt. The babies want to sleep in the day and be awake at night, and you want to sleep. So that's fine. But then if it goes on for longer than 2 weeks, if you start having symptoms where you don't want to eat, you're not, you're so exhausted, but you're not getting any sleep, you also find that your baby is crying all the time, and you're becoming irritable, and you're actually thinking, you have thoughts maybe to harm the baby.
Yeah.
You know, that can happen. And also, it doesn't necessarily need to be immediately when the baby's born. It can actually happen, postpartum depression, up until the first year of the birth.
So what is actually going on there? Is it purely the chemicals in the brain trying to balance themselves out again? What leads to this imbalance?
It is a chemical imbalance, but it's also, there are certain people that are more prone to get it. So, for example, if you maybe had depression early on in your life, if you've gone through very stressful circumstances, like maybe COVID, for example, could be, maybe you had COVID, or maybe you're scared about getting COVID, maybe you lost there was a loss in the family, bereavement can cause, there's psychological causes as well. So it's not just hormonal, it's also, there can be a lot of other causes as well.
A lot of other triggers as well. How does this then affect the mother's quality of life? And as you've highlighted it, it's going to be a challenging time. You start with 2 days of no sleep, and then it's just craziness. And I understand that there is a certain amount of circumstantial kind of influence in that space. But just how much of an impact can it have on mom and on baby, I suppose, to some extent?
It can have a very bad impact, and that's why I think moms, if you belong to if you attend antenatal classes, or if you have friends or family, it's good to talk. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, there's lots of places where you, especially with the breastfeeding, you can go and they can advise you on how to breastfeed, about sleeping, how to deal with a baby, and get help. People always think, I can do it all. And the partner...
You're not failing if you can't.
No. I always say, when you find out you're pregnant, it's a happy time, but no one warns you about what's going to happen when it actually happens and the baby comes. So it can be very overwhelming. And that's why you need a good support structure. With a partner, with your family, with your the clinic, the sisters, they can advise as well.
And that's why I think that antenatal journey is so good, because it connects you to a community of people who are often going through exactly the same thing. So going to a good antenatal class, as much as you might think, we got this, it is so helpful from that perspective, because it gives you your tribe, your people around you.
And I think if you talk to another woman and find out that someone else, you see you're not alone.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you think it's me, I'm not coping, I'm a failure, especially if you're used to being in control.
If you're a control person, for sure. No, OCD will be that trigger will get pushed and pushed and pushed. When do we seek help? When, in terms of speaking to someone professionally, maybe going back to your gynae to say, okay, listen, something is not right. When is it
So if you find that it's getting... Some people say you must just, take it easy and whatever. But I think if it's getting really bad and you feel that you're getting these feelings where you want to harm the baby or you want to harm yourself, then you should seek help, because there are treatments available, antidepressants. There are ones that you can take that are safe if you're breastfeeding, and you'll immediately see it will make a huge difference. It takes a few days to kick in, but it will help you. Then there's also support groups that you can join, and you can also call someone just if you find that you're not doing too well.
And I think it's really important to echo what you've said, is that you will have these feelings of failure, and this comes from both parents' side. But sitting with a front row seat to watching this miracle of pregnancy and then the birth, is that you're both going to be questioning yourselves all the time, and that is okay. It is okay to feel like you're out of your depth. Every parent in the history of parenting has gone through exactly that same thing. But if those baby blues, if that postpartum depression is hanging on for too long and is starting to affect yourself and affect the quality of life of your baby, and starting to get you to that place of having dark thoughts about yourself, and especially of your little one, it's time to talk to someone. Doctor's going to stick around. We are hopefully going to take some of your questions. Please let us know on the Expresso Morning Show Facebook page. Any pregnancy-related questions, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, these medical chats are certainly very important and very informative. And every Tuesday, we bring you Pharmacy of the Week to acknowledge incredible people working on the front line.
Oh, and there's so many of them. It's really one way of saying thank you to all of these brave healthcare workers. They do so much for us. It's proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave. And this week, we take a look at a pharmacy out in Gqeberha, Clinimed Pharmacy out in GQ.
Our pharmacies are on the front line of healthcare. This is Pharmacy of the Week.
Our logo is Clinic Care Pharmacy Group. We were the first pharmacy group in the Eastern Cape to initiate clinics in our stores.
We've become a first port of call for the community, and in order for that to really transpire, we need to step up and deliver on those needs that there are.
We'd like the community to come to us as a first stop, as a primary healthcare centre. You know, we can try and assist the customer that he can look after himself by doing screening, knowing that there's a problem, and then obviously try and treat the problem as far as we can, and then refer to the general practitioner if necessary.
People said, try not to get too close to your COVID patients. For us, it was about how can we serve those patients the best? How can we get the medication there the quickest to them? How can we get them better as quick as possible? And for us, that was bravery.
Pharmacy of the Week, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
Is gastric acidity ruining your day? You need an antacid that neutralizes acid in the stomach. Adco Mayo Gel. Feel it working. Feel good again. Feel the relief. Adco Mayo Gel. Feel the relief.
Ah, man, salute to Clinimed Pharmacy out in Gqeberha. It's all about putting those patients first, and they do it every single day. We love it. Thank you.
Do. Well, we want to say thank you to all of those fighting on the front line. We appreciate you. We see you. We love you.
Summer is as endless as you want it to be this getaway season with your Marriott Bonvoy Stay Longer on Us promotional offer. Get 20% or more off standard room rates when you stay 3 nights or longer at participating Marriott hotels across this magnificent land of ours. To find the participating Marriott hotels at your dream destination and just how good things get when you stay longer on us. Book now on emea.marriott.com.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. As we wrap up our vitally important chat around pregnancy health and, of course, awareness at this at this very important time. We know that this can be a wonderful journey, but it also is very stressful growing a tiny human. Well, every year from the 12th to the 16th of February, Pregnancy Awareness Week is observed to educate expecting moms on a healthy pregnancy and journey into motherhood. And we have loved the very informative discussion that we've had with our good friend, Dr. Salima Nosrak, and she is going to wrap things up now, and we'll hopefully get to some of your comments and your questions right now. I'm going to open this up by saying, when do you need to start engaging with your gynae? When do you need to start getting the plan in place? When is this antenatal journey, when does that officially begin?
Well, I think if you're planning a pregnancy, that's important, but pregnancy isn't always planned. So let's say it's not planned, because if it's planned, then you know.
Yeah, then you're sorted.
But if it's unplanned, I think the minute you find out you're pregnant, especially if you have had previous problems, you know, you should try and get to a gynae as soon as possible, say when you've missed 2 periods, so that you can go and see exactly how far you are. If you book early and you can have a scan, then you'll know exactly the gestation, and then from there, you know, you can plan. Otherwise, if you wait too long and you go later on, then you're not sure, and then you also won't be able to pick up problems with the scans. So I think it's important to, as soon as possible, to go, when you find out that you're pregnant, to go and book. Have a booking, and then you can have all your bloods done. And HIV, I think, is also important. We have to screen, because HIV has become part of life now.
It really
you know,
is,
and, I mean,
and our treatment of it is superb here. So I think we need to see it in that way.
Yes, and HIV is not a reason not to fall pregnant. So, because, I mean, with the ARVs available, the baby will not get infected.
What are the biggest concerns that you have working in this space? Yes. What worries you the most, and why have you become a champion for Pregnancy Awareness Week? What messaging are you trying to get out there to help as many mothers as possible?
I think when, as a mother, you know, you have a responsibility, you have a little human that you have to look after now. So I think your health is important. And often mothers are, you know, you've got other kids as well. So, you know, you don't take care of yourself. And self-care is very important, because to be able to look after a baby, you need to look after yourself. You need to love yourself. And you have to make sure that everything's okay. Sometimes, you know, when I worked at the hospital, at Tygerberg Hospital, we'd see patients come in and their blood pressure would be sky high, and you know, they would be so sick, but they maybe don't have the money to come in or the resources to come in. And, you know, it's terrible. It's heartbreaking. Because at the end of the day, you know, if the mother becomes really ill, she could potentially lose her life. And this is what you want to prevent. And then the baby's sitting without a mom.
And it is like that. I know we're talking about extreme cases, but that's the reality of where South Africa is right now. I know quite a few of you have weighed in online, so let's take a look at some of the comments and questions that have come through. Let's take a quick look here. This is from Nalima. She's saying, good morning. Regarding the pregnancy topic, can the doctor kindly advise the best supplements, etc., that helps to enhance your chances of conception? So before Bubba's even arrived, and this is, again, going to concern a lot of couples out there. Are there supplements that both members of the partnership, mom and dad, can be taking to help?
Yes, I think a general multivitamin, but I think if you're struggling to fall pregnant, I'm not sure if this is an infertile patient or just a normal patient, because I think normally if you're trying to fall pregnant, people don't really worry until they become pregnant, and then you should take your folic acid, your zinc, you know, your iron so a general multivitamin. But if you're trying to fall pregnant, I think it's important, if it's a man and maybe there's a sperm issue, then they need zinc, folic acid, vitamin E.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of Pregivits, and I mean, most of those supplements that a pregnant mother needs, they're very well packaged.
There's so many different ones on the market, you know, and some of them, it just depends on yourself what you find best.
That being said, what should a mother be focusing on health-wise after the birth? Is it necessary to keep that supplementation up, and for how long?
I think it's good that you, especially in pregnancy, you become anemic. You get iron deficiency anemia. So your iron levels are important. And then once the babies come, you know, it should go back to normal. But you should still take supplementation. You should eat well. You should drink lots of fluids.
Especially if you're breastfeeding. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, doctor, you've made me terrified to have a baby all over again. Definitely not a third in the cards. But
you never know.
You never ever do know. That's the crazy thing. But I will reiterate, having gone through this fairly freshly, I think we've both been on a similar journey in terms of the age of our kids. You will feel like you are not getting it right and that you're failing a lot of the time. And I'm speaking from the partner's objective, from our position, obviously. But the most important thing is to know that you are not alone. There are others going through exactly what you are going through. Find your community, find your tribe, as I said, and make sure that you form a great relationship with your antenatal team, most importantly with your gynecologist, because they really are there to walk you through this journey every step of the way.
Well, with Asian cuisine being one of the healthiest cuisines worldwide, this recipe not only features the taste of Asia, but it also serves as a unique way to prepare a favorite. Now, served with Clover's Manhattan iced tea, these quick and easy green tea noodles with sticky sweet chili chicken makes a delicious lunch or dinner. And here to take us through this amazing recipe is the one and only Jamie Lee Domberg. I mean, you've traveled all over the world, being on the cruise ships. Asian food, what's always been your take?
I've never been to Asia, but I do love Asian food. I'm actually trying to find like the best ramen noodle bowl in Cape Town, so I'm actually on a hunt for that. If you do have any suggestions, let me know. But for now, I'm going to be doing it myself because I like flavors. I love chili. Are you a chili girl?
Love chili.
There we go. So we're going to start with our broth first. So we're going to have our chicken broth is going to go into our pot over here. Ooh, oopsie. And that is going to be a nice little thick sauce. Some garlic and ginger is going to go in as well.
And those are such key ingredients.
Garlic and ginger in Asian cuisine
just builds the flavor.
Definitely, and some good like seasoning as well. Salt and pepper also is your friend when it comes to Asian cuisine, and then some chili as well. So that's going to be on the boil. Let me just put that on, and there we go. There we go. So that's going to be a nice bit of a simmer. And then once that gets to a nice boil, you're going to add your green tea. So 1 cup of green tea, and then our egg noodles is going to go into the pot as well. But I'm going to let that simmer for a bit, okay?
So you're cooking the noodles in the chicken broth with the spices you've added, or, you know, the garlic and the ginger, and then as well as the green tea.
Yes, that's going to infuse all of those beautiful flavors in that. And then we're going to go into our chunky vegetables. Now, of course, you can use any vegetables that you like. We're going to be using broccoli for this one. So in our pan, just some nice olive oil. Can I go in there?
You're so gentle with the olive oil. I just like click.
I tried it, but I have such a heavy hand that I'm so scared that I'll just like throw too much olive oil in and then you can't take it out. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put some of your broccoli stems in there. Do you like your broccoli nice and crunchy?
I love my veggies crunchy, and that for me is the best and probably the base of any good Asian dish is the vegetables need to still have a crunch. No one wants soggy, flavorless veggies, not at all. And something that's also quite interesting is reducing the broth with all the ingredients added allows for the broth to deepen in flavor, giving it that balance and intensity that Asian flavors are known for. Look how that broccoli just brightens up.
Right. I'm just trying to put the pan on a bit higher for that broth. But then once you're done with this, obviously you're going to sear it to the way you want it. If you want a nice little char on this broccoli, you can do that as well. And then in the same pan is what we're going to do our chicken in, okay? So our broccoli's...
I feel like you're doing all the work. Let me help you here. So we've obviously got our chicken.
Yeah, so that was cut in cubes already. So that's going to go in to that same pan. And get that nice sear. So you want it nice and golden brown. So just get some flavor on that.
And then when do you add your sauces?
Okay, so once it's golden brown, because obviously that is quite a sweet, sticky sauce, and it's going to burn the chicken if you put it on too soon. So just wait till there's a nice little golden brown flavor or golden brown sear to the chicken, and that's when we're going to add that. So I think that looks perfect for our egg noodles. So very important, egg noodles is going into the pot as well. That's about 240 grams of egg noodles. And then, of course, our cup of green tea.
Obviously, you don't want to add the tea bag.
I mean, if I would not recommend that, but if you wanted to do that, you could certainly do that. And that's just going to boil until your noodles are, again, done. There we go.
So this is the mistake I always do. I marinate my chicken into the sauce. And you're right, that's what there's a bit of a sweetness to it, and that's why my chicken ends up burning.
Yes,
or it looks like it's burnt.
It looks like it's burnt, and then the chicken's not cooked right through the middle, and the salmonella and all of that stuff. We don't want that, so we want to make sure that your chicken is cooked through before you add any of the sauces and the chili, because what happens is if you put the chili in too early as well, it's going to burn, and then you're just going to be tasting chili throughout that. And I mean, we work so hard to get that flavors infused in the dish. We don't want to spoil it with adding too much chili too early or adding that sticky sauce too early as well.
Okay, well, I'm going to pour us some of our Clover Manhattan iced tea. We're going for the peach flavor today. You know, this has always been a favorite of mine, peach flavor iced tea.
I'm trying all the flavors today. After my workout, I tried the lemon, and now we're going to do the peach. Okay, so for TV purposes, this is golden brown. You are now going to add in your...
I don't know if you do that. Like when you serve someone something to drink, it needs to be like equal measure.
Are you that person?
I'm that person. I try and get it like as equal as possible, and then so it is slightly unbalanced. So I'll give you the one that's got more in it.
You can actually see that you have siblings, because I can imagine you guys all standing there like just measuring.
My dad always said, "Dealer is die stealer." So when we had to split something, the person splits chooses last. So that if you split it unevenly, yeah. So I poured, so now you have to pick the glass first.
Got it. I love that. I'm going to incorporate that rule into our family as well, because the person usually pouring... the person who pours usually is pouring themselves so much that you get the last little. And then we all scream, company, company. Okay, so as you can see, the chicken is looking beautiful over there. Some nice flavors coming from that. You're going to go back in with that broccoli.
I'm just here for the colors that I'm seeing on that plate.
Here you go.
And of course, you can play around with the veggies like Jamie mentioned earlier. We're using broccoli. Really go wild with maybe some peppers if you love your, you know, some carrots in there.
Bell peppers, ooh.
Just different colors. Go for the yellow, green, red.
A rainbow bowl if you want to. Also, I'm just realizing now, I'm frying over this chili and I'm standing over it and I'm just inhaling chili and I'm like trying not to cough right now. But yeah, that's basically it. So once you're done, once the noodles are cooked down, you can just then again assemble it into the bowl, add your veg and add your chicken on top. If you want, you can use some of that broth as well just to create that rameness at the bottom. And that's how simple it is.
So of course we made the chicken version, but you can turn this recipe into a vegetarian substitute. The chicken stock for some vegetable stock. Instead of chicken, you can actually use some mushrooms or even tofu, which is incredible. So there you have a great Asian-inspired dish for your Tuesday. If you want to get your hands on this recipe, it is available on our website, expressoshow.com.
Oh, don't me.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yep, welcome back to it. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso. We're live here on S3. I love Tuesdays for the fact that we get to open up to some inspiring stories. And I think when it comes to inspiring stories, G-Man, you can't talk about inspiring stories and people and not mention our guest, Eureka Mohani. I mean, we have had the pleasure of having a chat with her on the show. It's a story of perseverance. It's around tenacity. And then, of course, those stories do stand out. Our next guest, Eureka Mohani. Dr. Eureka Mohani's story is one of them. Before she was a medical specialist, Dr. Mohani made ends meet and, funded her studies by being an office cleaner. And since becoming a medical specialist, she has garnered recognition for her work by becoming a Golden Key International honorary member. Yes, Queen.
But that is not it, in fact. For the super achiever back in 2021, the medical specialist was then selected as one of the 200 Male and Guardian Young South African Award winners in the Editor's Choice category. This was all because of the role that she played in compiling and translating a free online COVID-19 course for South Africans. Now, to tell us a little bit more about her wonderful journey is the good doctor herself. A very good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Graham and Taviso. Thank you so much for welcoming me and having me on this amazing show. Hello, South Africa.
Hello, Doctor. Good to see you again.
We're really very excited, Doc, to have a chat with you here. But first of all, congratulations on all of your achievements. I mean, these are major moves you've been making. Let's take it back to becoming you. Of course, you had university, and then you had to drop out because you couldn't afford to pay for your fees. Tell us about that experience and what sustained your desire to keep going, to become a health practitioner.
Well, I must say, one of the most painful and heartbreaking things is knowing that you have the capability, you have the passion, but because of limited resources, you know, you're not able to pursue or finish off as much as anyone else has used the same route. So our routes are definitely different. So I was broken. I mean, having grew up a top student from high school and then now coming to the big world, the real world, and then having to meet all of these other factors that came into play. I mean, my family also tried their very best, but, you know, resources were limited. They couldn't do much. We applied for a lot of other fundings, but a lot of things were not approved. Only to realize right now, looking back, that it was all part of the journey. And looking back then, I mean, there were days where I'd have to even braid other students' hair just to get enough money for maybe food or transport fare to move from one campus to the next. And it was a really eye-opening journey for me. And then having to come back home, obviously, extended families, friends I was with at varsity, all looked back and they said, but how come? I mean, it's you. We know what you're capable of. So it really does crush someone's spirit. But I sincerely believe, and I've seen when you have the faith, I mean, definitely that's my backbone right there. Being in Christ, that pushed me, knowing what you're called for, who you're there for, and I mean, having spiritual fathers and then like Apostle Peter Jones who would come back and tell me, you are destined to be out there and to help people in the medical field. And that's where I got that drive to just come back, no matter what.
And it's not just about helping the individual as a medical practitioner, but connecting to a much bigger narrative here. So you obviously became a medical specialist. But not only that, you then became a member of the Golden Key International Society, which, as I understand it, is the world's largest collegiate honor society for graduate and undergraduate students, which has strong relationships with over 400 universities around the world. Can you tell us a bit more about that and what that was like and how you felt netting that achievement and becoming a part of this incredible global network?
Well, I must say, back in 2011, when I was given this award as an undergraduate, I didn't really understand what the aim was for it. I didn't really understand what I should do with it. And I remember on that day, I didn't have anyone there with me, no support. I remember it was raining. I had to make means to get to where the ceremony was being held. It was tough. Just getting that award itself was very, very rough in itself. But many years later, right now, you know, they reached out once again. They're recognizing the work that I'm doing and the community impact that I've been making as well. And not only that, I mean, last year they said, listen, you're not just a member anymore, not just undergraduate, but you're also one of our outstanding members that we want to acknowledge and honor. And that for me is really humbling, noting where I come from and knowing that they care. Someone cares about the story and the background that I do have, and it makes a difference. And I mean, the key aim is to inspire it, is to empower and encourage individuals to be themselves, to be comfortable in what they have to offer. That's what I'm grateful for.
I keep thinking of how many other young women and young men are in the position that you found yourself in, unable to untap and unlock that potential because they just don't have the resources, just dying to hear someone else's story of success.
And it's always the ability to tap into somebody else's success story that really does help us see the light at the end of the tunnel. But we know that in 2020, you know, you drafted a free online course on COVID-19. What inspired you to do this? Where did you get the time, first of all, and what's the reception been like for this fantastic work?
Thank you for asking that. Well, first of all, the drive to share information, to make knowledge available, but making sure that it's also grounded down for each and every individual to understand was my drive. That was my biggest thing. So as a medical scientist, with research as a big drive for me, and, medical writing, doing the right research, because there's a lot of information out there. But my drive was to make sure that people get the right data. That is our responsibility as medical professionals. And that's when a group of us actually volunteered. We came together and we found this opportunity available online. And they said, listen, not just to compile, but assisting with also translating, so that any South African or those who are outside of the country can also just access it. So it's available in Afrikaans, Zulu, Sotho. It's available in a number of languages as well, which is amazing, because we're trying to break down data so that everyone may be able to understand what is definitely needed. And the reception has been phenomenal. I mean, we even got awarded as golden volunteers just for doing that. And it's from our heart. It was definitely volunteer work that we did, because at the end of the day, what people know will definitely empower them or break them. So we had to play our key role, and I'm thankful for that as well.
And lift and empower. I love it.
Oh, man. I mean, just because you've got nothing on your plate, of course, you also do outreach work in the space of food security. You are helping on so many different levels. Why is it so important for you to pour this energy that you have back into helping others now that you've achieved so much yourself?
My spiritual father encourages and says, Apostle Peter Jones, he always says, we're always looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. But did we know that we are the light for other people's tunnels? And knowing that right there, I've been driven to understand that, listen, in as much as I know pain, I know lack of resources, I know what it is to go without, it's very important that now that I'm able to, I can step in and assist those who aren't able to have what they need at this point or a specific time. So I believe it comes back to each of us. We are all responsible for each other at the end of the day. I mean, and if you can, if you have the ability, if you have the time, working with cancer, they always say, as volunteers, you have the heart for people, but you might not always have the time. So whenever you can, you do step out and you reach out to those individuals. So being able to offer that nutritional support, that advice, boost other people who want to also just empower themselves. I mean, I've been able to assist those who needed editing with their books, just for them to, to just be placed in whatever industries they're in. Those things or those opportunities right there are what drive me as well, because I know that I am actually now inspiring someone else. I'm impacting others so that it becomes a ripple effect. I mean, it's just one act of kindness that will definitely lead to a major ripple effect to make this world a better place. And that is why we are here.
All right, Doc, I think it's time for you to stop being so lazy and actually go out there and do something with your life. Come on, man, you have an opportunity here. It's as inspirational as the last time we connected with you. Just wonderful to see the headspace that you're in, because I know how you're going to use that energy to help other people, not just your own sector, but right across the board. You are a shining light. You are that light at the end of our tunnel. So thank you so, so much for being there today. What a pleasure reconnecting with you. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you so, so much, Graham and Tabiso, and to you, Expresso Morning Show family in South Africa. Thank you. I really appreciate your time as well, and for also hearing my story. Thank you.
Dr. Eureka Mohani, a true South African icon. I love it. I'm inspired. Okay.
Well, the time now is 8 o'clock, time to have a final look at those news headlines. Starting on the national front, more than 100 children from the Ikamva Lesizwe school at Kenton-on-Sea in the Eastern Cape were rushed to hospital with symptoms of food poisoning. Provincial Education Department spokesperson Malibongwe Mtima said officials happened to be in the area where food safety inspections were done at several schools. He said 117 children required hospital treatment. They are now awaiting medical reports from the hospital for more details on the children's symptoms. Then the University of KwaZulu-Natal has suspended its academic program for the rest of the week after violence and intimidation against staff members occurred on a number of its campuses. University spokesperson Norman Zondo said student leaders had entered lecture halls and demanded that academic activities be halted. Stone throwing also occurred at the entrance of certain campuses. Zondo said the university management would meet with the SRC today about the grievances. Then looking to news further abroad, a human rights organization has lodged a complaint against France with the International Criminal Court over its failure to compensate victims of nuclear weapons tests in Algeria in the 1960s. The International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICAN, claims that many people have developed cancer and genetic diseases after the 6-year-long nuclear tests in that country. France conducted the first test in 1960 in the Sahara Desert, and ICAN says its decision to sue France follows the country's failure to respond to repeated compensation claims. Then the US and UK leaders have said not all hope is lost for a diplomatic solution to the Ukraine crisis, but warned that the situation remains fragile. In a 40-minute call, Joe Biden and Boris Johnson agreed a deal was still possible despite a chorus of warnings of imminent Russian military action. Russia has constantly denied plans to invade Ukraine despite massing more than 100,000 troops on its border. Russia's foreign minister said yesterday, and I quote, diplomacy was far from exhausted. Meanwhile, the US has said aerial bombardments could begin at any time. Then, of course, they've become the talk of the town. These 730 trees in downtown Cape Town, all swathed in colourful cloth and part of the Come Back to Town campaign with a view of creating a positive vibe in the CBD. They also convey a mood-enhancing message from the Cape Town Central City Improvement District, the CCID, that the CBD is back in business after the pandemic. Dubbed the Rainbow Tree Project, the 730 trees throughout the CCID's 1.6 square kilometre geographical area have been wrapped in some 3,000 meters of fabric to create a wonderful variety of color. They are visible on the foreshore and in the CCID's 3 other precincts, including St. George's Mall, Bree and Vatican Streets. Now, CCID Urban Management Manager Kelly Benito says the 730 trees have been wrapped in green, yellow, red, orange and turquoise fabric as the colors represent our diverse nation, hence the name Rainbow Tree Project. The public response has been very positive, and the endeavour to create a joyful mood in the CBD is certainly working. On that note, that is where I leave your news here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much. Jamie Lee Donberg. We take a final look at your weather. But first, some environmental news here. Disturbing environmental news that the number of trees cut down in the Brazilian Amazon in Jan exceeded deforestation compared to the same month last year. And now this, according to government satellite data, the area destroyed was 5 times larger than 2021. And the highest Jan total since records began in 2015. Terrible news. Protecting the Amazon, of course, is essential if we are to tackle climate change. Trees are felled for their wood, as well as, as to clear spaces to plant crops to supply global food companies. Very, very important. And deforestation totaled 430 square kilometers in January. At the Climate Change Summit, COP26 in Glasgow last year, more than 100 governments, they did pledge to stop and reverse deforestation by 2030. But environmentalists across the globe, they accuse Brazil's President Bolsonaro of allowing deforestation to accelerate. Brazil's vast rainforest absorbs a huge amount of greenhouse gases from the atmosphere and acting as, what's known as a carbon sink. Protecting the Amazon is essential if we are to tackle climate change, and that's the bottom line. Now, from serious matters, we move on to some lighter news and views. Thank you very much for those sunrise pictures. Donovan Daniels from Ashton, who kicked us off this morning with this stunning shot overlooking the vineyards. Yes, oh yes, in his area, showing off the stunning sun rays as they spread across the sky. Thank you for that. Joey Peterson from Umhlanga shared yet another fantastic shot with us as she begins her day. And our regular photographer, Nick Lombard, how's it, Nick, who usually is based in the Northern Cape, has shared a different view with us this morning while he's visiting the coast. Thank you for that, Nick. Last, certainly not least, Suzette Kuhn from Jeffreys Bay captured this beautiful silhouetted shot overlooking the ocean, showing off burnt hues in the sky. What a way to start your day. Thank you so much. And we take a final look now at your temperatures with 64% of rain and thunder showers out in Polokwane. 17 is your low. You will reach a high of 26. With Mbombela coming in at 21 and 27. Pretoria, the capital city, 18. That's your low, reaching a high of 29. If you're out in Johannesburg, brace yourself for some thunder showers today. 17, that's your low, reaching a high of 27. Mahikeng in the northwest, 18 and 32. Klerksdorp starts off at a low of 17, reaching a high of 31. Kimberley, you'll start off at 19 today, peaking at 31, with thunder showers expected out in Bloemfontein today, 16. That's your low, reaching a high of 29. Richards Bay, 19 and 28, with rainy times for Pietermaritzburg, 18, peaking at 27. If you're out in Durban, Dubana, 21, that's your low, reaching a high of 27, with sun and clouds for Mthatha today, 18, that's your low, reaching a high of 30. East London, sun and clouds, 22 and 28, with some thunder showers still out in Craddock today, 19, that's your minimum, reaching a maximum of 34. Gqeberha, GQ, 21 and 28, with lots of rain out in George today, 19 is your low, reaching a high of 29. The Mother City, 19, peaking at 28. If you're out in Worcester, it's rainy over there today, 19 is your low, you will peak at 33. Sutherland, expect some thunder showers, brace yourselves, 15, that's your low, reaching a high of 26. But of course, if you find yourself out in Uppington, it's a bit cloudy today, it's cloudy with no rain really, 22, that's your low, reaching a high of 32. And that's where we leave it for this morning. It's a Tuesday, so no matter what it's looking like in your part of the country, choose to make it a feel-good type of day.
Well, we're going to force you to make it a feel-good kind of day. Angus Mtizwa has been teasing us with his sound checks all morning. We cannot wait to hear the young man perform, and he's going to do that just for you right now with a beautiful song. This is African Queen. Take it away.
Sarura wako tarira mkati shumba indorumai imeni manawe African queen, show me your beauty. African queen, your natural beauty. African queen, show me your beauty. African queen, your natural beauty.
Yes, man!
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on S3. And if you're wondering why did Zoe change out of her dress into her cycling clothes, well, it is just under 1 month until the Cape Town cycle tour takes place. And I will be competing for the very first time ever. So I thought I would prepare myself by giving some key information from how to get started to how to recover after the race and also to train. And this is where you are joining in on this journey. And before you get onto the road, though, there is a lot to consider in terms of the right equipment, how to select what works best for you while you are on the road. And here to take us through some of the basics for beginners to know is head coach and founder of Bike to Max Cycling Studios, as well as sports scientist Ian Roger. Good morning, Ian. This is quite an intimidating process that it was a goal I set at the start of the year. I figured, let me enter the cycle tour because then I have no option of backing out. And to get started, cycling can be quite daunting. It can be overwhelming because it is an expensive sport. So I've been lucky enough to borrow a friend's bike just to get started. But in terms of the equipment you need, what would you say are the essentials?
Well, you know, the choice would be between a road bike and a mountain bike, essentially. So that's the choice most people have. It doesn't really matter which one you go for, whichever you feel more comfortable on. Some people like a mountain bike because it's more versatile and it's more stable. So that's quite nice for a real beginner. They just feel safer on a mountain bike. Other than that, you know, the bike shops will advise you really well on a suitable bike. They will size you up literally and figuratively and go like, for what you want to do, I think this would be a better bike. You know, so they will advise you, but there's not too much to choose, really. It's a case of how much do you want to spend and how fancy do you want to go, rather than the real basics.
Okay. Now, for someone like myself starting out, I'm borrowing this road bike from a friend. One of my best friends who's also getting into cycling just purchased herself a gravel bike. So she likes the option of having both. Now, when it came to the shoes, I remember buying the cycling shoes. So I went for mountain biking shoes. And then I never realized you had to get separate cleat attachments to it, but eventually figured that out. For someone starting off with cycling, they said to me, rather start off with tackies, not cleats. I prefer the cleats. What's your recommendation?
I would say you want to get into the cleats as soon as possible because they are a lot safer than tackies. So tackies are inherently unstable and super, super dangerous. The cleats are just a little bit unnerving in the beginning because you just need to get the movement right to unclip so that you don't do that slow motion topple the first time when you suddenly go, how do I get this
How do I get the foot out?
But cleats are the way to go. Then you just practice it somewhere safe, you know, like a grassy area before you head out onto the road on the first time, because then you will do the robot topple.
And you don't want
and
that.
look like a nana, yeah. So, but more importantly, you may just hurt yourself. But definitely get cleats right off the bat. It's a much more efficient power transfer. Your feet don't fold over. You know, there's no debate. It's get the right shoes with the cleats, and away you go. And it can be the mountain bike ones or the road pedals. You know, the main difference really is that on the mountain bike shoes you can walk a lot easier, and of course you could then ride your mountain bike. You can use the same shoe pedal on both bikes if you have two bikes.
Okay, so you get a little bit of, that's why I went with the mountain biking shoe. I just figured if I do decide, I mean, living in Cape Town, you have the luxury of both, of having the mountains and the beautiful roads. Now, I've been on the road a handful of times. I can tell you exactly 4 times. So, yeah, that is a big oops, but I think I'll be ready if I put in the time. So in terms of being on the road, it is intimidating. I know you're looking at your watch, but it is something that I kind of figured I just need to put in the time and I'll be okay. For someone joining the road for the first time, any recommendations? I went with a friend and I found it quite helpful, and we went super duper early in the morning, so I made sure I had all the right lights. But for someone getting onto the road,
go with someone experienced so that they are traffic savvy and cycling in traffic savvy. That is really the lifesaver, because you just don't know how motorists see you and don't see you and how they behave, and so you need someone with that experience to be able to guide you and protect you from the traffic. That's really the thing. And then along the way, they can also advise you on the appropriate gear selection while you're pedaling and all these kinds of things. So a lot of little things about just making the cycling mainly safer and more comfortable for yourself.
And also enjoyable. I mean, you don't want to do that and suffer the whole way.
You have a tame slave dog that can tow you and push you, so that also helps. So
I did have that the last time I went on the road. A friend kind of like pushed me, but he was quite kind to say that he's getting some resistance training in while I'm like suffering trying to get up the hills. Now, I know you're not going anywhere, Ian, so stick around. We have more questions to ask, more things to unpack, and if you're also doing the cycle tour, stick around. We're going to talk about nutrition, we're going to talk about training as well as recovery, and stick around. We also have another expert here to give more training tips for you on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. We'll be right back.
Simple as CBD should be.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. I promised you all things cycle tour, and you are back just in time. Now, once you are familiar with your bike and your equipment, it's now time to get into the saddle and on the road. Training is an essential part of getting ready for a cycle race, as you need to build up your endurance as well as in order to just not only finish the race, but in my opinion, enjoy the race. Now, with us to chat all things training and how to go about it is partner and senior coach at Science to Sport, Michael Possumus, joining us on the show. Mike, it's great to have you here.
No, thank you very much.
I love that I get to pick experts' brain ahead of my first ever cycling journey. I've been on a bike 4 times, I can tell you that much, on the road. And so far, I've been enjoying it. So each cycle's been a little bit longer, a little bit longer. But for someone like myself, who's a beginner to cycling, but not necessarily to fitness, what would you recommend in terms of starting? It's a tricky question.
Yeah, no, it is a very tricky question, but the best advice I could give anybody, and it might be to the beginner like yourself or to the more experienced cyclist, just to be consistent, to not just try and jam everything over a weekend. Try and get out regularly as you approach your big day, which is 4 weeks away now.
Yeah.
And just to be consistent and to try and get out at least 4 times a week in small, consistent chunks, and you'll get a better adaptation and response from that as opposed to just including one very long ride on a Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, so be consistent, try get out 4 times at least the week, which is going to be tricky, but I'm going to try my best.
It doesn't have to be outside. You can also go to your local gym, cycle on the indoor trainer provided in your gym, or if you're lucky enough to have an indoor trainer at home.
Then that definitely helps. In terms of a fitness program, a training guide, any recommendations there? Especially with the hills, I realized I'm okay on the flat surfaces, but the inclines is really where I burn out. I obviously hadn't mastered the gears properly, so by the time I summit the hill, I'm exhausted, and even though it's a flat plane, I have no energy in me.
Yeah. So what we would generally recommend, and the recommendation would be, again, from anybody from a beginner to somebody wanting to go sub 3 hours, is to try and polarize your training. So you want really easy days, and then you want really hard days. So don't try and make every single training session tough. So if you struggle on the hills, don't try and do hills on every single training session. Have some where you just ride very easy, and then have specific sessions where you try and push yourself by riding the hills a little bit harder. These would be your high-intensity days. And you would ideally want no more than 2 hard sessions in a week, and keep all other sessions and all other rides very, very easy.
Okay, I like that. So, okay, that's a different approach to taking it. And then when it comes to, tracking your fitness, how important is it? I feel like everyone said to me when I said I'm going to be doing a bit of cycling, they were like, get Strava. Strava is the thing to be on.
So there are several platforms you could use. So the question is what you want to track. And in cycling, there are a lot of analytics. But just for the beginner, simply tracking the amount of hours that you are riding every week. So you slowly want to progress the amount of hours. So if you've done 3 hours last week, the best goal for next week is to do 4 hours and slowly progress it slowly. You don't want to go from 0 to hero, because that would just cause you to be more fatigued and not respond and adapt adequately. So increase it by small increments every single week. And for the beginner, simply start off by tracking your hours in whatever platform works for you. Strava can be a great tool if used correctly.
Okay, well, Mike is not going anywhere. We have more things to unpack when it comes to the cycle tour, including prepping for race day as well as focusing on recovery, so don't go anywhere.
We are certainly not going anywhere, because it's time for us to experience Red and unlock more with Vodacom's Red plans and amazing giveaways they've been giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
I love it. So here's the good news. If you switch to Red between the 7th of Feb and the 6th of March, so you've still got some time, you can unlock a free rugby jersey, and a beautiful one at this. So take a look at this. You can also get the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE 5G for 1,299 Rand per month over 24 months on a 10 gigabyte Red Core More data plan, which is a very good deal.
I mean, it sounds too good to be true. Just that S21, the camera, just everything about it, and then more data, 10 gigabytes. I mean, like, what more could you want?
They've got you covered, and I'm definitely here as a rugby fan to get my hands on one of those United Rugby Championship jerseys, whether it's a DHL Stormers, Chelsea Sharks, Emirates Lions, or Vodacom Bulls. I'm not going to judge. I want a jersey as well, and this is a great way, I think, to get your hands on one of those lifestyle kind of pressure points, those things that we love, and this is certainly something I would love.
Of course, and Vodacom and Expresso want you to experience Red and unlock a free jersey by giving you the chance to win one of 3 Vodacom United Championship jerseys each week for the month of Feb. Now, all you have to do is just reply to the competition post on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and tell us who is your favorite South African rugby player, and also why Get in there with all of those motivational reasons why that is your favorite. Of course, you can use that hashtag Experience Red Unlock More. The competition closes Thursday, the 17th of Feb at 10 a.m. And remember, those T's and C's do apply and can be found on our website, expressoshow.com.
Switch to Red and unlock a free rugby jersey. Get this great Samsung deal for only 1,299 Rand per month. Further together, Vodacom.
Well, let's elevate the feel-good a little bit here on your feel-good breakfast show on this beautiful Tuesday morning. More jams coming from Angus Mtizwa and the Totem Band. This one is called With You. It's one of my favorites, guys. Please do a good job. Please, please, please. Take it away, guys. You got it.
It all started on a summer sunshiny day when this beauty walked past me. Men no ake akachena sema sae chando. Oh oh oh, darovera moyo kudombo ini ndomu chete. Ndiwe tsana ngudzo erunako ndirushito ngengo charakadenga. When I'm with you, I feel so special. When I'm with you, I feel so loved. When I'm with you, I feel so special. When I'm with you, ooh, 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 yeah. And Gabbana shoes, yeah. Versace perfume, $1 million smile. See exactly symbols on your mascara. The Shaya Shokore Kutsana Guda, Luna Korwa Kwewe. Kandara Koraka Chena Kunaka Semura Muchi Piti. When I'm with you, I feel so special. When I'm with you, ooh, 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 I feel so loved. When I'm with you, I feel so special. When I'm with you, ooh, 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 yeah. Jokwadini ndaperera Pambiro matauriro wake matarisiro Paanonditarisa mumaziso Ana yangu yobva yarova Nyemwerero yake yandikanya-kanya pfungwa dzangu Jokwadini ndaperera Pambiro matauriro wake matarisiro Anonditarisa mumaziso Ana yangu yobva yarova so special. When I'm with you, I feel so loved. When I'm with you, I feel so special. When I'm with you, yeah.
it is your Feel Good Breakfast show on S3, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as me, because I'm just soaking up all the information, because come race day for the Cape Town Cycle Tour, it's going to be overwhelming seeing all of the riders on the starting point waiting to get going. But as long as you've put in the training and getting accustomed yourself to, you know, a group riding setting, and also putting your pre-race and race plans into action, it should be an experience you'll want to repeat many times over. Now, if anyone knows what a race day is all about, it's Ian Roger from Bike to Max, who is a UCT Cycling South Africa Level 2 coach. Absolutely. In fact, UCI Cycling South Africa Level 2 coach. This is quite an intimidating process getting started, and already, Ian, you were able to point out that I had set up my bike incorrectly when I removed the wheel. Yep. How important is it for a new cyclist especially to become really confident and understand their bike?
Super important, because, you know, if, for example, in your case, if the quick release mechanism on the front wheel is set the wrong way, it can work itself loose in the ride, potentially, and then your wheel can start working loose, or even worse, fall out, and you have a horrendous crash. So it is super important to have just a, you know, working understanding of how things work on the bike, so that you can identify if something is a little bit out of kilter and then get it fixed. I mean, even on the start line, they have mechanics at the start line of the cycle tour, and people run there in the last minute panic. So it's good that that's why you need to know kind of how it works, so you can identify when something's wrong and then find someone to fix it in a hurry.
Okay. I was quite chuffed when I went to the bike store and I bought myself a little multi-tool. I love DIY myself, so I've used that tool countless times. Now, when it comes to, you know, being race ready, starting off in a pack, what is the best way to really wrap your mind around that? Because that is quite intimidating.
Well, really, the way to approach it is to have a plan of how you're going to pace yourself across the event. And so what you've got to do is take comfort and security from the idea that, okay, you're going to do this sensibly and at your own pace, and not get sucked into the whole rah-rah and then go herring down the road, and then bad things happen when you get to Chappies. So it's really about just having a calm, you know, mental picture of just how you're going to execute. And as I always say, don't focus on the result and the performance, just focus on the execution. Stay safe, listen to your body, fuel up, all those kinds of things. So just chill.
Chill. I love the keyword fuel up, because I have found after the last two races, or not races, cycles I've done, even during the training process, is I'm completely depleted after a cycle, which means I'm not fueling my body before, during, or after the race. Let's talk nutrition and fueling yourself just to be road ready, to be not necessarily just race ready, but just cycle ready.
Well, you know, there's quite a lot of hype at the moment about the intermittent fasting, and people are shying away from carbs. And so let's just be clear, carbs are your friend in this setting. We all like carbs. I unfortunately like all of them. But so the carbs are definitely your friend. So the fueling up is two aspects really to this thing. One is overall nutrition, and the other one is fueling up on the day. The fueling up on the day is not so much about complete nutrition. It's just about getting carb calories down the hatch to fuel the legs to keep you going. So there you would not do the thing of nuts and drovos and other things. It's really straightforward and simple, and any of the commercial energy drinks, gels, bars, any kind of combination of those that you feel comfortable with, which you will hopefully have practiced with in some of your limited training rides, so that you know which ones are palatable and so on.
So that was quite interesting, because with my first two rides, I went with this friend of mine that's also on the new side to cycling, but way more experienced than me. And when I went with someone that was way more experienced, they said to me, you need to hydrate every 20 minutes. What is your rule of thumb for hydrating, or just getting a little bit of energy into the body?
Well, the rule of thumb is that you can fortunately do pretty well drinking more to thirst, and not everyone sweats the same. So the heavy sweaters will need, it doesn't sound very elegant, but the heavy sweaters will need more fluid replacement. So the energy requirement stays about the same for the number of hours that you're riding, but your fluid requirements may differ. And you will know if you're a heavy sweater, you're like, man, I get thirsty pretty quickly, and you're going to have to drink more. So the rule of thumb is drink largely to thirst. Don't do funky things like bulk load, huge amount. Don't wait till 2 hours down the road. You're like, man, I can see stars. I need something to drink. So yes, do drink intermittently along the way, and somewhere safe, so not anywhere where, so preempting where it's going to get busy or narrow or so on, so when it's nice and calm.
Calm.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, if I may, can I...
Please.
So it's just about my life's mission. This has to stop. So I don't know where it came. Well, I've got an idea where it came from. So what you see too often in the races, now, and yeah, so they pull their bottle out and they go, let's make this safe and show everyone that I'm going to drink my water because it's much safer to dangle my bottle in your face somehow. And there's no one more sensitive than a male in Lycra. When you question their life choices, especially like, why are you doing this exactly? And I think this is a misunderstanding from what people have seen in watching Tour de France live. The pro cyclists put their bottle up like this to indicate to their team or the race directors, like, that guy needs water. This predates when people had radios in races. So you didn't just go, this, you waved your bottle and then they would say, oh, your guy needs stuff.
Okay.
And I think somewhere along the line, this message got horribly corrupted and now people think this is for safety. It is not. Never, ever for safety. It is dangerous. Okay. Nobody appreciates a bottle in their face at 50 k's an hour or anyway. Yeah. And you got more chance of dropping it out there. So just focus on...
Just pick it up, have a sip, put it back.
Put it back. And just drink... You can drink preemptively, just don't drink vast amounts.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry too much about an exact schedule because it depends on how hot it is. Depends how hot it is and how hard you're riding. And with the weather we've had lately, it could be...
It's been hot.
30 degrees really early. We've had cycled to a stop because of the heat and because of rain, so...
You never know. Well, Ian, I appreciate your knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing the safety tips and, of course, just getting sure that I am as safe as possible when hitting the road and my journey to training for the Cape Town Cycle Tour. We've got more training as well as recovery coming your way, so don't go anywhere.
Well, you know what? I hope you're taking notes this morning on this beautiful Tuesday morning, Health Tuesdays. And that's because health is always important, especially when you plan to tackle a cycle tour. Yes, Zoe, check out this next recipe, rich in antioxidants and source of vitamin C. Now, it's all about celebrating peak tomato season because it's here. It's happening with this fantastic exotic tomato and ricotta tart. Yes, oh yes. And don't let the world, or the word tart, or the world of people who don't like tarts scare you, please. We're talking ready-made puff pastry here. And look, it's a confection that takes 15 minutes to prepare. Honestly, you're going to love that about it. It's convenient and not even 20 minutes to bake. I mean, come on, And Chef Clem, because the vitamin C in vitamin C, the C in it stands for Clem. He said it himself. He's here to show you how to make this really easy dish. Clem, you actually obviously booked me to say the C stands for Clem.
Yeah. So I've got to pay you how much now?
Do we discuss this?
We'll discuss it later. Okay,
cool. Pay me in food. This looks fantastic. I didn't know it was tomato season.
Yeah. Like, I was so surprised. I got tomatoes growing in my garden, beautiful. It is honestly it's just the best time to, like, get into tomatoes.
All of that fresh.
Yes.
Okay, so this is all about making this as healthy as possible, but also still making it pretty convenient, right?
And delicious. Like, I mean, let's not be like... The one thing about when it comes to health food or when it comes to the first thing when people start changing their diet is they lose flavor. And there's a good way how to get a lot of flavor into your tomatoes, and you're going to be on that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. So,
let's see,
we know the specialty tomatoes are exclusive to Woolies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love them because it's not just a variety of color. The flavor and texture is different.
Yeah, well, they look great. You really do want to be part of this when you look at this bowl. Yeah.
So, I'm going to ask you just to do, like, another 3 tomatoes for me. And the thing about it, we're serving the tomatoes raw. So normally when we chop our veggies or our fruits, we say keep everything the same size because we're going to cook it. So you want everything to cook evenly, but we're not cooking this. It's going to be a raw salad.
Fresh,
so just make it your own, change the shapes up, play around with the colors as well, and that's the thing. That's how you're going to create some. This essentially is a tart that's been served on puff pastry, so...
It really is somewhat of a rainbow, as well, on your dish, or rather your plate.
It is. Okay, cool. So, what I've done is I've painstakingly made all butter puff pastry. It took me 2 days.
Oh, wow. I mean, look at you. I mean, honestly, we don't deserve you.
You know what? But it's my act of just giving.
I love that about you.
But then I lied. Okay, so we're using the Woolies all butter puff pastry, and this is so delicious.
Okay? It's a life changer.
It is.
Honestly.
Because, I mean, look at the layers. Look at the layers. of pastry in there. It's a
Yeah. It's solid. It's proper.
It's good. It's established in there. So, and you can smell that butter. They're not playing.
Nothing better.
No, nothing better than done. Okay, so, right. Tomatoes are looking good. Now what you have to do is you're going to season them, okay?
All right.
A little bit of salt and pepper. And then you can dress it with a little bit of olive oil as well. That's for you. So I've got some ricotta cheese, which is a beautiful, soft cheese that it's kind of like a canvas for flavor. So it takes on the flavor of anything that you add to it or that you pair with it.
And it amplifies it, I imagine.
It just makes it so creamy and delicious. To that, we're going to add. You can give it a. We're not going to give it a spatula. You're going to work on your toss.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
What
So
do
there
you
you
want
go.
me to do?
You're going to toss your tomatoes.
Okay. All right.
Give it a nice
I've never
little shape.
done this before. And look, the aim is to still be able to have this meal at the end of it. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
You're doing
That's
it.
enough, yeah?
You're doing it. That's good.
It.
Yeah, so you can let that sit for like 10 or 15 minutes.
And so that it just takes...
Yeah, it'll just take on the flavor. You'll just taste so much more of the tomatoes.
Nice.
Lemon's going in, and we're using the lemon zest. Very important. There's a lot of flavor in there.
Freshness.
You can smell it. It's just like it's everywhere.
Yes, sir.
A little bit of lemon juice. Can I get some of your salt and pepper? You can season it for me.
Oh, do you want it in here?
Yeah. Nice, nice.
And some pepper in there. I really do like that already, just looking at the spread of ingredients that we've got on our counter here, it already is telling of the fact that this is a quick and easy and convenient recipe. For me, honestly, I prefer to not have my counter packed with stuff because that's when I get tired and lazy before I even start.
Okay, because you know what's going to happen afterwards, and you've got to be like dishes, cleaning up.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it is. Okay, so the ricotta cheese, just a little bit of lemon juice, zest, salt and pepper. You can see how the texture changes.
Yeah.
It's become so thick and creamy, and you want that to happen. So I'm going to move over here. Your tomatoes are looking so good.
Thank you.
You have a choice. You can either push down the center, or you can just like pile on top.
How do you usually do it?
I like to pile on top because it just makes it look grander because it stands higher.
Yes, that's right. So make it an extravagant thing. Make it an extravaganza.
Especially because there's not a lot of effort that goes into this. It's like, it's so simple. So make it look even more wow, and your guests are going to be even more impressed. It's smooth and so beautifully.
Let's talk about the tomatoes for a bit, because the tricky thing with anything fresh like tomatoes is you want to know what the sort of lifespan of them is once we've chopped them up like this. I mean, how much time would you say that they'd still be able to still remain fresh once we've done that?
Once you've chopped it and seasoned it and marinated it, you can actually let it sit in the fridge, just covered with a lid, for like a day. It's going to just take on more flavor. The texture might change a little bit, but it's still going to be really, really good.
It's flavorful.
Okay.
Nice.
Tomatoes looking amazing. I'm going to ask you if you can...
Some
look at that. You're already jumping on. Okay, there we go with the basil.
Tells you how ready I am for this one, right?
Because you know.
Oh, no, we already know. We already know.
Oh, that looks so beautiful.
It really does.
Okay, absolutely. Don't pop the pastry down because you want this to be nice and big, looking beautiful. Last thing is a bit of pesto, but you can keep on garnishing. I mean, this is so beautiful. If someone just brought that out to the table, everyone's going to be happy.
I love that. And in fact, if you are loving this as well, we made it pretty simple for you by loading the recipe on the site. Go on to woolworths.co.za, get your hands on the recipe. It really is that Woolies difference. It's going to change your life, but it's certainly, without a doubt, as I always say, is going to be a crowd pleaser. Chef Clem, vitamin C, and the C is for Clem. Aim to please, and I love it. This is beautiful. Thank you. Put it here. Boom.
final talks of our preparations to the Cape Town Cycle Tour. And when it comes to recovering from a road race, a road practice, it is super duper important and a very important component of your overall training plan when you are an avid cyclist. Now, myself just starting out, I'm here to grab everything I can from Ian as well as Mike, who is still here with us to answer some of my questions. And now we're putting the focus on our recovery. I found that, you know, during my last race, I was completely wiped out, and I kind of figured, okay, it was because of not, you know, nourishing myself properly pre, during, and post. But when it comes to recovery, what exactly does that entail? I'm going to start with you, Mike.
The two most important components of recovery is nutrition and sleep. And those are the two bases of recovery. Nutrition starts not after the ride. Actually, it starts before and during the ride. And we briefly touched on nutrition during the ride in the previous segment. And that is very important. And you touched on it briefly now, in that you dug a big hole during your ride. You were not ingesting enough nutrients during the ride. So the key is carbohydrates. You want to be ingesting carbohydrates during the ride, and sufficient carbohydrates. So we might talk about 60 grams per hour. If that is a little bit too complicated for you, that is roughly a bottle of carbohydrates every hour, plus a small gel or a bar. That is what you should be aiming at to ensure that you do not get completely depleted during the ride. Not being depleted during the ride will enhance recovery after the ride. After the ride, then, it is carbohydrates is also the most critical macronutrient. Everyone always jumps on protein. Protein is also important. Protein, we would want roughly 20 grams of protein, but carbohydrate is the main nutrient that needs to be put back. Similar to a car using a lot of petrol or fuel. As soon as you've done a long road trip, you want to fill your tank up again, and that will help you enhance your recovery.
Okay, so making sure it is a combination of looking at what you put in your mouth, what you feed yourself, and the amount of sleep you get. Ian, earlier we touched on riders' etiquette, and I feel like it's so important, especially I'm thinking now with the cycle tour will be a big race, but often just when it comes to your normal rides and your training sessions, people tend to ride in little groups. As the rider, how can you be as safe as possible for the person driving their vehicle, who the road belongs to?
Well, you know, you need to abide by the rules of the road as well. And too many recreational cyclists think they're in the Tour de France and they ride in the middle of the road, and then they antagonize motorists like crazy. And the way to stay safe is, first of all, to have enough skill to be able to be aware of your surroundings, to be able to look around, look behind you. There's an alarming number of people, especially the newer cyclists, that aren't able to look behind to see what's going on, and they just indicate and go and then almost get squished. So how to stay safe is get the basic skills right, that you can look around so that you can, do things safely. Go with someone that can coach you on those, and a more experienced cyclist. But the main thing is not to ride in the middle of the road, to give yourself a little bit of a margin between the pavement and yourself, so that you have a bailout room if a car's coming close. And that's why being able to look behind is so important, because you need to listen to the tone of, all the sensors are going, you've got to listen to the tone of the car. You will develop a sense of how close that is coming to your side. And if you leave some space to the curb, then you can move out the way.
You've got a little bit of
slightly higher grade to time all of that, but with experience, you get pretty good at that.
Okay.
So that's one of the main things, and not to start shouting at motorists, because you must realize that you are largely invisible. And even when they see you, they don't always register, and they don't realize how fast you're going. They misjudge your traveling speed. So the bulk of the near misses and crashes and aggro comes from lack of understanding on both sides of how to manage the other party on the road.
Well, now, finally, being on the bike, I am cognizant of cyclists on the road, constantly looking out for them. And we've all seen the bumper stickers, wider than the rider. Now, as a motorist, obviously, especially if you live in the Atlantic seaboard or a place where people love to cycle, what advice would you give to the motorist to also look out for the cyclist? Or is that not the...
Just be patient. Just imagine that's your son, your father riding along there. You know, we can all get along. Yeah. If the cyclists are being really road hoggish, then, I guess you can feel free to share your opinions with them. But just remember, there is a legal obligation to give a meter passing space, not a layer of paint. And just play nice. You know, they're taxpayers. They always go like, oh, you cyclists. Hey, those cyclists are also driving cars, also paying tax. They're also contributing to the road upkeep. Just let them do their recreational stuff. They're staying healthy. They're keeping your medical insurance premiums down, you know, because they help. So just be nice.
Just be nice.
Just be nice.
Okay, I'll definitely take that with me, and hopefully you will too. Now, I did say this was largely focusing on recovery. Mike, just to finish off, we've now finished a training session, whether it's for the race or just cycling for pure enjoyment. How important is stretching?
No, stretching is very important afterwards. Obviously, when you're sitting on the bike...
The celiposturpedic stretch, it's a mainstay of...
When you're sitting on the bike, there are several muscles that are actually shortened in that position. So getting off the bike, ensuring that you do a little bit of mobility work can certainly help you to both recover and help you prevent some injuries.
Okay, well, Mike, Ian, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate everything you've shared, and I will certainly keep you updated with regards to how my training and progress towards the Cape Town Cycle Tour goes. But you can obviously stick around to your Feel Good Breakfast show, because leading up to the 13th of March, I'll definitely be sharing more of that journey.
Oh, thanks so much. And I'm gonna throw in a massive thank you to that Good Samaritan who helped me when I was doing the cycle tour, fix my gears after that 12th kilometer where I thought I was doomed. I love you, man. I love the cycling community here in Cape Town, and good luck to everyone prepping for that. So we're going to give you your just rewards right now with another amazing performance. We're back on the Expresso stage with Angus Mtizwa, who's closing off his morning of performances with the amazing Totem Band with a beautiful and oh so deep Narera, or translated into orphan.
Baba varipo na mai achindiona upenyu wangu dai wakarongeka asina moye mumwe aira mwirwe sadza hakuna chakununura iwe kana ukasasimuka kuti ushande upenyu ufambe wakuvara ndoda usimuka Noda usimuka, noda usimuka, ndinoda usimuka, upenyu ndewako iwe, ndinoda usimuka, ndaramo ndeyako iyo, ndinoda usimuka, uchangotarisa ere makore achifamba uchingogunun'una mazuva achidarika raramo ndeyako iwe ndinoda usimuka upenyu ndewako iwe ndinoda usimuka ndinoda usimuke ndinoda usimuke oh oh namoye mumwe aira mwirwe sadza hakuna chakununura kana ukasasimuka kuti ushande upenyu ufambe wakuvara ndati namoye mumwe aira mwirwe sadza hakuna chakununura kana ukasasimuka kuti ushande.
Life is what you make it. However you choose to shake, bake, and celebrate it. Here's to a great 2022. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.
Kuna chakununura kana ukasasimuka kuti ushande upenyu ufambe wakuwara. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. Butter. Sure. Okay, so do we have a deal? Like you're gonna come like every... Oh, look at that.